Bro, like, listen, all right, I don't like Stanley. Damn people. I think the only person I have been was Stanley.
It's what it is. But I gotta say, man, you
I
really
literally said
like
they
this.
need
If they
to
wanna be
understand.
with you, it's called Stanley versus
I need to
World.
finish what I say first.
And just assume their character by stereotype?
I think people do that every day.
Okay, I didn't ask you. What
Do I think
people
it's okay?
Do
I
you
think
think
it's
it's
normal.
okay?
I need to finish what I say first.
I'm celebrating. It is my anniversary of my captain upgrade here at Delta Airlines. And I cannot wait to share with you my favorite trip that I've had so far. No shade to anybody else. Sorry. But it was a lifelong dream to fly with my childhood friend. And I am so happy that we were able to make history together. It did happen this year, wasn't this month. You might have seen the short video on my Instagram or TikTok, but this is a full detailed video of the entire 3-day trip we had together. Let's go. I wanted to start new. This morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? I want to make sure that my hair is nice and fresh because it's going to be a special day. And so what's the best way to refresh your hair than to wash it and start over? Now, I know it's a little bit risky to wash your hair and hope that it comes out perfectly before you go to work, but I have my routines pretty much down at this point, so it's going to work out. Although I am an advocate for a healthy hair girly, I do very much need a trim in this video, and I'm already aware. So y'all can tell me as much as you want in the comments, but I know, and I'm gonna get trimmed here soon. I decided to go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when I'm leaving from home, because a lot of times people don't realize how much work goes into even before you leave. My self-care is something that I appreciate doing because it gets me in the right headspace. If I feel good, I usually have just like better days. I enjoy being around the people that I'm around because I feel good, I look good, and I feel fresh and ready for the day. Here you see me dyeing my eyebrows because unfortunately my eyebrows do not match my natural hair color. But outside of that, just a quick clip-in routine for my hair, some curls to add some volume and some bounce, and then I'm pretty much done to put on some makeup and get ready for the rest of the day. Just doing the final touches here. Of course, you know I have to wear my airplane earrings. All of y'all are always asking about them, but the link is below if you want to grab them for yourself. Other than that, it's time to get my dog over to her sitter while I go on this 3-day trip. I'm really excited about this trip because it's with a couple of friends that I hold near and dear to my heart, and we're going to have such a great time. One of them is actually taking all of these videos, and he'll be riding as a passenger with me. My friend is also a Delta employee, so it made it pretty easy. And here he is. This is Jamar, my really great friend. And he's also the president of Bold, one of our BRGs at Delta. He's looking all smooth in his trench coat. So I mentioned being able to be on this trip with a couple of friends. He's a passenger, but this is my first officer, Sashery Shelton. I am so happy that we got to do this together. Fun fact is me and Sashery has known each other since we were teenagers. And I can't wait to tell you more about that story. But for now, let's go ahead and get this flight out.
Good morning, everyone from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. Just want to welcome aboard flight number 1773 with service to Tulum today.
Jamar was able to take all of these amazing videos, including my landing, and I'm so happy that it was smooth because I wasn't going to hear the end of it. We received a lot of compliments and also gratitude. As passengers declaimed. I think some of that gratitude was also because we were at early departure and early arrival into Tulum. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, thank you. Yes. Oh my God, it was outside. See ya.
I am so impressed, lady.
Oh, thank
So
you.
proud to be on your side.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. This crew was so great to fly with. We had one leg to Tulum and one leg back. We dropped off Jamar so he could have a great time there. And now we're about to set up our flight back to Atlanta. I did have a little bit of lunch. It was a great salad with some arugula that the company provided us. On these long days, we tend to have meals in between flights, so they're really nice to have. Here you see me conducting the pilot monitoring duties, which is doing the interior pre-flight of all of the switches and buttons, making sure everything is in the correct location. And Sashri did the box programming of the flight. So basically how to get from point A to point B. We arrived in Atlanta airport and then we flew to Pensacola, which is where we had our wonderful dinner. And of course, we got a little bit of seafood since we were in Florida. And this is the next morning. I'm ready to start my day. I think I went for a walk or something like that this morning and then just hung out with Sashri for the rest of the day. We had an afternoon departure, which usually I do earlier flights, but it was nice to have the morning to ourselves and then just get ready midday to fly back to Atlanta and then to fly to St. Louis. I'm doing my makeup so that I can look fresh and refreshed throughout the day. So while I'm getting ready for my trip, I want to make sure that I go back to how me and Sashri know each other. We've actually known each other since we were teenagers, and it's just a beautiful thing that we get to fly together now. We both started in an aviation program. It's with OBAP, that's OBAP. And if you look at their website online, there are these ACE academies that happen throughout the summer. We both happened to go to the Atlanta Ace Academy that was sponsored by our current airline. But back when we were teenagers, we met there, we've kept in contact and really been part of a lot of highlights of each other's lives and also getting through this journey that we call aviation together. So to be able to do this together is full circle for sure. It's actually the first time someone of both of our demographics have flown together on this aircraft at our airline. So it's also a part of history, and that made me really happy. I just ran into my buddy that's actually going to be jumpsuiting with us. He's a Delta pilot, but he's also a Navy pilot as well. That's one as well. Two separate write-ups. Because they wrote up one, they also had a write-up after that. Make sure that the ground crew is aware of it. Right. And so before we push temperature control, you see I'm still kind of testing that to make sure that the other check zone. And from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. I just want to welcome on board flight number 1640 with service to Atlanta. Pitch back here for another early departure here at Delta. We have our wonderful flight attendants back there to assist you. They are here primarily for your safety. However, it was great to take him from Pensacola to Atlanta, and what you just saw was me briefing the first officer on some of the maintenance items that we had to deal with on the flight, and then doing my pre-departure announcement. The flight from Pensacola was only about an hour, and we got to Atlanta, and then of course we ran into another friend. So another one of our Delta friends saw us up at the top of the escalator, so we took a couple pictures right before we headed to our next flight. I wanted to share the true excitement that we had being able to be on this trip together. We were at conjoining rooms, so it was just fun to be able to be just like we were as teenagers to now being grown adults as pilots together. Funny thing is, we were supposed to go to St. Louis, if you were listening earlier in my video, but we actually ended up in Little Rock, Arkansas. We had what we call a reroute, so we ended up having to get changed from being in one destination to another. So we went from Atlanta to Little Rock, had a short overnight, but it was able to get Sashari home earlier, as well as myself, because she doesn't live in Atlanta. She lives somewhere else, so she also commutes, which means she was able to catch an earlier flight home, and it worked out better for all of us. So this is us going from Little Rock to Atlanta. It was an hour and 57 minutes from takeoff to touchdown. We arrived at 9:42 a.m. Our cruising altitude was 290, which is 29,000 feet. And you'll probably see our highest ground speed was 560 knots. I think you can see why now I said this was my favorite trip thus far. Sashari, it was a pleasure flying with you. I cannot wait to do it again. We had an all-female flight crew to end the day off. And if you want to continue to see more day in the lives and advice from me, make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment. I look forward to seeing you all in the skies very soon. Have a great one.
All right. Well, welcome to Stanley versus the World, everyone. I thought I would actually, I actually subscribe to this lady's channel. Look, bottom line is, I don't have a problem with accomplished women if they're capable of doing it. So, as I commented to Deacon Dave, if his happy is subjective or his positive is subjective, no doubt he would be happier with a white male pilot, probably from the Charlie Kirk School of Piloting. However, there is a lot of good stuff that goes on in the proverbial Black community, and I choose not to say what John Galt is doing right now, because I look into his show every now and again, and you know what? Tomorrow's title will pretty much demonstrate my feelings for that style of show. So anyway. And you know what? Of course, Speak Radio. Of course, I could not ignore that comment you made. I thought it was hilarious. So let's get into some news. By the way, the link is pinned if anybody wants to come up. And just a show note, well, kind of overall channel note. I, just by accident, the other day, did a shorter show and then cut it off, for lunch basically, and decided to come back later in the day. I'm going to shorten the segments, because I'm looking at the numbers and, everybody has their normal lives, their work lives, their family lives, all that stuff. So, the longer shows will probably be, say Friday or Saturday or over the weekend. This morning show, I'm going to kind of cut off around 12 or 1. And if it's worth coming back, depending on what I have to do and, popular demand, I'll just do another one in the later afternoon. But, I'm going to, during the week, Monday through Friday, because at one point I only wanted to do Monday through Thursday, but Friday kind of works. But we're going to have to break this up. I feel more energetic if I get a rest, etc. I am getting old. I can't do that spring chicken schedule. So look, and Lupin, you kind of get me. Enough of this fucking negative shit. There's plenty going on that's negative in all demographics if you choose to look at America by demographic. I would venture to say there's more destructive stuff going on in the quote white community than there is in the black community. There are political assassinations. I'll do a story next about 5 cops in rural Pennsylvania getting 3 killed. I saw the live stuff yesterday afternoon. A couple of the news guys went live. Dude, you'll never hear someone like a Be Brave talk about 5 cops getting shot, 3 of them dying in rural Pennsylvania. This wasn't the hood. Okay, you'll never hear him talk about that. So I think there's a lot more destruction and assassinations and cop killings and school shootings going on in the proverbial white community. Anyone who just wants to be so racist that they're saying the black community is going to destroy America, I beg to differ. And I think this last week or two kind of, swings the argument towards my point of view. So those of you, who do frequent Be Brave, tell him I said hello and tell him to duck. Bullets are a flying in rural America. So let's get to this AP story here. This happened in North Codorus, maybe, Pennsylvania. Never heard of the town. Sounds right. Mighty rural. Law enforcement were investigating Thursday after a shooting killed 3 officers and wounded 2 more in southern Pennsylvania the day before. The violence erupted in rural York County as police followed up on a domestic-related investigation that began on Tuesday. Police killed the shooter. Hours after the violence, community members held American flags and saluted as police and emergency vehicles formed a procession to the coroner's office. Governor Josh Shapiro, who's a Democrat, by the way, condemned the violence at a news conference and said it was a tragic loss of life. Attorney General Pamela Bondi called the violence against police a scourge on our society, except when it happens on January 6th. Attacks on the cops then are okay or ignored. It was one of the deadliest days for Pennsylvania police this century. In 2009, 3 Pittsburgh officers responding to a domestic disturbance were ambushed and shot to death by a man in a bulletproof vest. Look, bottom line is this didn't happen in the hood. It is a total tragedy. These people, were doing their jobs and got basically, who knew? So I look forward to the day when racists like Be Brave and John Galt, start, the scales fall from their eyes and they actually see America for what it is. Speaking of what America, yeah, it is like standing or watch CKJ3. That is an apt analogy. There's enough tragedy to go around. Lot of stuff. America's a violent country, and pinning it all on one group is just plain old racist. Let's call Be Brave what he is, and John Galt too. And there are plenty more anti-black blacks and anti-black whites. So anyway, Trump, speaking of violence, Trump and his allies seek to punish speech they dislike following Kirk killing. Basically, this is the linchpin that Donald Trump is going to do to lock in his authoritarian tendencies. And I'm telling you right now, folks, that Rubicon has already been crossed. Just as you'll see and probably have already heard, we're here. We thought, hey, authoritarianism could be possible. We're here.
You're listening to Trump. Allies seek to punish speech they dislike following Kirk killing. A news story written by Michael Birnbaum, Sarah Ellison, and Perry Stein, and read by an AI-generated voice. A week after the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk, President Donald Trump and his allies are attacking critics of the right-wing activist who they say have gone too far, a campaign that detractors described as an alarming attempt to curtail one of the nation's most hallowed civil liberties, freedom of expression. Vice President J.D. Vance urged supporters to drum those celebrating Charlie's murder out of their jobs and threatened that the administration may strip tax-free status from two prominent foundations that support left-wing causes that he accused of underwriting a disgusting article about Kirk. The State Department embarked on a global effort to identify foreign citizens praising, rationalizing, or making light of Kirk's death and put them on a list to prevent them from ever receiving U.S. visas. Attorney General Pam Bondi vowed a sweeping crackdown on hate speech. The governor of Texas celebrated a college student's arrest after she mocked Kirk's death at a public vigil. And Trump blasted ABC News' Jonathan Karl for having hate in your heart and hinted at an investigation of his network. The radical left causes tremendous violence, Trump told reporters in the Oval Office this week. The radical left really has caused a lot of problems for this country. I really think they hate our country. The effort represents a significant departure for the conservative movement, whose leaders for years have painted themselves as champions of free speech opposing a culture of liberal censorship. Tech titan and former White House advisor Elon Musk.
And by the way, this is exactly why I don't think that MAGA is a conservative movement. I mean, there's some intersections, but anybody who is saying that the majority of the Republican Party right now is conservative, they either don't know the history or they're not reading newspapers. This free speech, this weaponizing the government the way Donald Trump did. And it's so funny, the maxim is, people like MAGA basically accuses the left of what it actually is doing. Okay. This whole thing about the left being, cancel culture and woke and all this stuff. So people can't say what they want to say. Free speech is literally under threat. I made a joke yesterday. I think it was in the chat of another show about how about we just put a big line or an X through the First Amendment and make the Second Amendment the First Amendment. Because somebody literally said that the Second Amendment, this woman literally said, or not literally, but made the something on the order of the framers of the Constitution got it wrong. The Second Amendment should have been the First Amendment. And I was stunned. My comment in the chat was, so you know better than the framers of the Constitution? Now, this is a woman who is a stay-at-home wife, and she wants to talk constitutional theory. And then the other sentiment that was going around is if we didn't have the Second Amendment, we wouldn't have a country, which I think is just like, you can, somebody responded, well, that's a fact. And I'm like, no, that's not a fact. That's something you can't even prove. And there are plenty of countries who don't have a Second Amendment, and they exist. So MAGA is going to take America down. Thank God it's really unpopular. I eagerly look forward to 2026 just to see what happens, and I look forward to a post-Trump America. He's got a shelf life due to age, and the bottom line is I think it's really a cult of personality, and it's full of bad ideas. So we'll listen to a little bit more of this story, then we'll move on, because there's plenty more troubling news on the First Amendment front.
Bought Twitter in 2022, in part because he complained it was throttling free speech. Kirk himself blasted the idea of hate speech that Bondi is now threatening to use to target some of his critics. And Trump, on his first day in office
What's up,
in January,
Matsuwitz?
signed an executive order titled Restoring Freedom of Speech and Ending Federal Censorship. Over the last 4 years, the order declared, The previous administration trampled free speech rights by censoring American speech on online platforms, often by exerting substantial coercive pressure on third parties, such as social media companies, to moderate, deplatform, or otherwise suppress speech that the federal government did not approve. The administration's campaign has alarmed many constitutional scholars who say that a White House-directed crackdown on speech, especially against government workers and protesters, is a clear violation of the First Amendment and decades of Supreme Court precedent. It has also ruffled some on the right, who accuse their leaders of invoking the language of what they describe as the liberal censorship machine. Some said that even if the administration backs away from some of its first sharp declarations or courts ultimately block them, a broader chilling effect is already underway as private citizens, organizations, and employers take cues from calls for revenge from the most powerful people in the nation. Trump is very much wanting to use the tools of the government to try to silence the speech that he doesn't like, said Erwin Chemerinsky, Dean of the University of California at Berkeley School of Law and a leading First Amendment scholar. It's not a new playbook for people to use power in that way, but we've never seen a president do anything like this before. First,
Yeah, and I'll just stop that there because it's a longish article. I got plenty more where that comes from. And speaking of Trump's assertion, Trump and his little henchmen asserting that the left is the problem. Well, you know what? I didn't realize there was a video in here. I'll read a little bit of the article, but I definitely want to listen to this news story here. Says this is from NBC News. The Trump administration's suggestion that a secret network of violent left-wing extremists was behind the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk stood in contrast to the evidence presented by law enforcement. Text messages from the subject, Tyler Robinson, to his roommate revealed a confession and an explanation, officials said, but made no link to any groups. The dude hasn't even voted in the past couple elections. In a string of text exchanges, Robinson wrote that he had enough of Kirk's hatred and that some hate can't be negotiated. The exchange was among the evidence that Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray used to charge Robinson with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and several other counts. Officials said they would seek the death penalty. And a fun fact, Utah has the firing squad is an approved method of execution. I think South Carolina might also. So I look forward to that. Robinson told his roommate that he had been planning the attack for over a week, the charging document alleged. While the investigation is ongoing, prosecutors revealed nothing yesterday that connected the alleged shooter to any leftist groups. Experts in the administration appears to be using Kirk's assassination as a pretext to crack down on left-wing individuals and groups. While White House officials have yet to detail any plans, statements by Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller and the real power behind the throne, and others raise questions about who exactly would be targeted, how, and what effect it might have in stifling political dissent. Stifling political dissent. That does not sound like the America I know. Stifling, it sounds very, very third world and very kingish. So let's go back and watch this video because I wasn't aware that they had there was a video of this guy's hearing. Let's see here.
At the conclusion of the hearing for the first case, the court will take a recess and remind all those who are scheduled for the first appearance calendar to log.
No, I have. Oh, wait, hold it. Let me stop this. First off, Brian Nichols, censorship does not come from the left. Only the government can censor. Private companies can censor all they want. Once again, democracy dies in dumbness, and your point is not well taken. It's a stupid comment. And no, I have nothing to say because the left is not in charge of the government right now. Why would I waste my time? Seems people like you, Brian Nichols, only like history when it's anti-left.
Court has taken a recess. As a general note, no electronic usage is allowed unless pre-approved. Any disruptions will be removed.
The mother did
To the
nothing to
jail,
extort
are we ready
Deacon
to
Dave.
proceed?
Fake news.
Yes, Your Honor.
Calling case 251-403-576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Robinson. I'm Judge Graff.
Thank you for being here.
Mr. Scortis.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. You're probably already aware of my presence or why I'm here, but if not, I am not entering an appearance. I'm not counsel on this case. I'm working with the county to get counsel assigned, but we need you to allow.
Oh boy, can you imagine being assigned this case? Oh shit. Boy, you know what? They better put that guy, that lawyer, that public defender, whoever, they better put him in a Kevlar helmet and body armor. I would not want to be taking this case.
For the appointment of counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Scortis. It is, well, I want to go through the qualifications
Absolutely.
for indigency.
Deacon Dave, I'm always caught up with the story. You need to keep that fake news bullshit to yourself, or I will just shit on you for the fun of it. How about that? What's up, 12th man?
But that is my intent, Mr. Scortis.
Very well.
And I thank you for being here. So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you. I have reviewed your declaration of financial status and find that you are indigent. I'm provisionally appointing a Rule 8 qualified attorney to represent you on your case, Mr. Robinson. Along with their filing of their appearance of counsel, the assigned attorneys must file declarations with the court that outline their qualifications under Rule 8 and Rule 8C, under Rule 8B and Rule 8C for a counsel appointment in a case where death may be a sentencing option. I'm ordering that those declarations be filed prior to the next hearing date, which is set for September 29th at 10 a.m. Mr. Robinson, I also wish to inform you of your rights against self-incrimination. Anything that you say in court today could be used against you, and we want to protect your constitutional rights. Mr. Robinson, at this time, you will remain in custody without bail. Mr. Scortis, is there any other points that you wish to address?
No, thank you very much, Your Honor.
Turning to the state.
Yes, Your Honor. Chad Grunander for the state. I'm also joined, and they're listed as attendees, Ryan McBride, Lauren Hunt, David Sturgill, and Chris Ballard. We are the trial team on this case. I do have a few points I'd like to bring up with Your Honor. We have filed a pretrial protective order on behalf of Erica Kirk. We would ask the court to review that. It should be in your queue, Your Honor, and sign that.
Thank you. I have reviewed the pretrial protective order and will be issuing this pretrial protective order in favor of Erica Kirk. Is there any other business that we need to address today, counsel?
Just for the court's information, we did file just recently, within the last few minutes, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. So that should be in the court's file. Lastly, I would just indicate to the court and to, at this point, Mr. Robinson, that we are prepared to collect all of the discovery in this matter and get that turned over to the defense as soon as possible. Rule 16 requires us to provide what we have relied on in charging the information and bringing these charges within 5 days once it's requested. So that'll be prepared to disseminate to the defense as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Grunander. Mr. Robinson, and what I also want to do is you have the right to have the charges read that you stand charged of, and I wish to read those to you at this time. Thank you.
Would he drop his pen?
Mr. Robinson, for count 1, aggravated murder, a capital felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 70.
And by the way, I hope this isn't boring, everyone. But you know what? I find this fascinating. I don't know of anyone who's shown this hearing on their show. They'd much rather just talk about other YouTube creators or maybe just, shit on the blacks. I tend to like more serious topics. There's always time to shit on the blacks, right?
6-5-202, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, intentionally or knowingly caused the death of Charlie Kirk under the following circumstances. The defendant knowingly created a great risk of death to another individual other than Charlie Kirk and the defendant. Notice conviction of this offense may carry the death penalty or pursuant to Utah Code 76-3-207.7, a mandatory term of imprisonment for life without parole or an indeterminate term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child aggravating factor.
You know what? That's an interesting way of putting political or even hate speech, target enhancement. I like that.
Sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider as an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent criminal offense in the presence of a child. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-11-210 sub 2 and 3C, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant Tyler James Robinson discharged a firearm in the direction of Charlie Kirk, knowing or having reason to believe that Charlie Kirk may be endangered by the discharge of the firearm and that the act caused serious bodily injury to Charlie Kirk. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. Notice if the trier of fact finds beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim targeting enhancement applies, the sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider the defendant's selection of the victim as an aggravating factor. Violent offense committed in the presence of a child aggravating factor. The sentencing judge or the Board of Pardons and Parole shall consider an aggravating factor in their deliberations that the defendant committed a violent offense in the presence of a child. Count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-8-306 sub 2, in that on September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant Tyler James Robinson, with intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or pursuant to any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, conceal or remove the firearm used to shoot Charlie Kirk, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or a first-degree felony. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony in violation of Utah Code 76-8-306 sub 2, in that on or about September 11th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, with an intent to hinder, delay, or prevent the investigation, apprehension, prosecution, conviction, or punishment of any person regarding conduct that constitutes a criminal offense, destroyed, concealed, or removed the clothing he wore during the shooting, and the conduct that constitutes an offense would be a capital felony or first-degree felony. Count 5, tampering with a witness, a third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-8-508, in that on or about September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted or intended to prevent an official proceeding
I'm waiting
or
for
investigation
Tyler to fall
and
asleep.
attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony, information, a document, or an item, to wit, directing his roommate to delete incriminating text messages. Count 6, tampering with a witness, a third-degree felony in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-8-508, in that on or about September 11th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, believed that an official proceeding or investigation was pending or about to be instituted or intended to prevent an official proceeding or investigation, and attempted to induce or otherwise cause his roommate to withhold testimony or information, to wit, directing his roommate to stay silent if the police questioned the roommate. Count 7, violent offense committed in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-3-203.10 sub 2 and 76-3-203.14 sub 3.
What's up, Tamika? How you doing?
Double I, in that on or about September 10th, 2025 in Utah County, the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, committed criminal homicide in the physical presence of a child younger than 14 years of age, with knowledge that a child was present and that may have been seen or heard the commission of the criminal homicide. Victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code Annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2, Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because of Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression. That concludes reading the information. Mr. Robinson, this case is set for September 29th at 10 a.m. It will be a waiver hearing, and I will be the judge assigned to this case. Mr. Robinson, I invite you to join us at that time. Is there anything further, counsel?
No, yeah, we'll have counsel appointed by then.
I invite you to
anything further?
One item, just for clarification, Your Honor, the hearing on the 29th, is that in person or WebEx?
Thank you.
Oh, you mean found by a jury of his peers?
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right. I want to thank all parties for being here, and this concludes this hearing at this time. Court is in recess.
Wow.
You have been watching that court hearing for the man suspected of shooting and killing Charlie Kirk last week on a campus in Utah. You saw the suspected assassin, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson there, not speaking, wearing what appeared to be some kind of green vest, as the judge read out the 7 charges against him, including, of course, aggravated murder. The state making clear that they are seeking the death penalty and putting in place, the judge did, a protective order, apparently at the request of the state, for Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow. I want to bring in Danny Savalos. I want to bring back Steve Patterson, who's live for us in Utah. Danny, as we noted, that was a virtual and fairly quick court proceeding here. September 29th, that'll be the next one for Tyler Robinson.
These hearings are quick anyway, and that's before court started doing virtual appearances where the suspect doesn't even need to leave the jail. In fact, it might have even been shorter. Normally, a defendant will waive the reading of the formal charges or the indictment, but I suspect that in a case of this much national interest, the judge just wanted to make extra certain there was no doubt that the defendant was informed of the charges against him. That avoids him having to even speak. It makes it cleaner, although it adds just a few minutes onto what could otherwise be a matter of seconds in some cases.
And is the 29th when we would expect to hear Robinson enter a plea? He, it sounds like, does not have an attorney yet, although one will be appointed.
Yes, in all likelihood, and this is no surprise for a crime of this magnitude, given what little we know about him. It's unlikely he would have the funds to pay for his own private counsel. So no surprise. The only real question is whether or not he'll get the public defender, which I suspect he will not. He's more likely to get appointed private counsel. And here's the key. They have to be death penalty qualified. That requires a ton of extra training. And people who handle those capital cases are almost always court appointed. It's very rare that a capital murder case involves a defendant who's well-heeled enough to pay for private counsel.
Noting here, too, some of the paperwork is just into us on that protective order that the court finds the defendant represents.
That I did not
threat
know.
to the physical safety of that
See,
person.
we learn stuff all the time.
Danny,
here.
stand by for a second. I want to go back to Steve Patterson here. And Steve, it has been a remarkable series of developments over the course of the last several hours as state officials, the Utah attorney there earlier in the day described, and the charging documents, some of these probable cause documents showed step by step, almost minute by minute in some instances, how they closed in on this 22-year-old as their suspect.
They did. And in doing so, we got the TikTok, we got the charges. Also, these, the exchange of text messages between Robinson and his roommate. These are details that we simply didn't have before. One thing that sort of gels with what we saw in the text messages, this exchange again, before and after between Robinson and roommate, who believed to be romantically linked, is how cognizant and lucid Robinson appears. And I would say that for looking at this video, although unblinking, so unblinking and eerily at times that it almost appears like the video is frozen. Just want to comment a little bit more on the physical appearance of Robinson, appearing over WebEx on video. Appears to be wearing what is described to me as a safety smock. We know he's on a special hold, right? They're going to hold him there in a separate unit before they evaluate his mental health, before they put him in maybe a more different location, a more general location. They do that as a matter of procedure, right? But it is sort of interesting. He did say one thing, which was his name, which was stated clearly and firmly. And again, I want to say gels with sort of what we saw in that exchange of text messages, because he's talking to his roommate, who clearly appears to have no idea, the roommate, what is going on, or that he is the suspected shooter. And yet he's sort of talking a TikTok of what he's done and why he's done it, and admitting to do it, essentially shocking this roommate through these series of exchanges, which sort of gels with his physical appearance today. Obviously, we also heard during the hearing the Utah County following.
What's up, Mike? How's it going?
The course of action to introduced the death penalty as well. That was filed as this was being read in court. So definitely some developments here today. And just the amount of information that we got, the blanks that were filled in.
That's right.
Not only that, but also on the apprehension, the involvement of the mother as well, and sort of bringing him in. And also the physical evidence, the DNA found on the actual trigger of the rifle, which was tied to not only what was found on the screwdriver, but also the towel used to wrap the rifle. So an extraordinary amount of information that we got, especially with this charging document that's now in.
What's also clear from these text exchanges laid out, Steve, is that Robinson had no intention of being caught. And I say that because he said he had hoped to die of old age with this being his secret, according to what the state had laid out in this text exchange. Almost seemed panicked when describing trying to go back to return to retrieve the rifle that he allegedly shot Charlie Kirk with, not being able to do so when essentially caught out by his parents, when his parents approached him and said, we think this may have been you, tried to get in touch with him, tried to reach out. The state says that Robinson suggested or implied that he may try to take his own life here. So you can get a sense of his mindset, at least based on some of these text exchanges and what law enforcement has laid out over the course of some of these documents here. All of it, as we should note, these are the state charges here. It's possible federal charges could come.
Oh, it's
federal
likely.
charge is possible. One notable sort of omission is we didn't see any federal officials. We don't know if federal charges will be filed, although it's heavily implied that they will. One thing also is sort of the level of deceit, both with the parents. The father did something that sounded very clever. It was heard the description of the rifle that had been described by authorities, federal authorities, state authorities, and that he assumed, obviously with the pictures of Robinson himself on camera at the university, assuming this is his son, try to get in contact with his son, trying to ask, hey, could you send me a picture of the rifle that I gave you? And of course, the son sort of ghosting him, seeming to imply, again, involvement. And also about the rifle, there was a lot of investigative work to try to figure out, was the rifle traceable? Was it bought legally, illegally? Would have been hard to trace, we now know, because this was essentially a family heirloom, something that's common in hunting families, passed down from grandfather to father to son, and that was the case here. So again, much more stark relief that we're seeing this case in, Hallie.
That's right. Robinson also telling his mother he had been out sick, had stayed home sick over the course of the 2 days that she had inquired about. Steve, I know you're going to stand by for us later on as we get potentially more on this. Danielle, let me go back to you here briefly, because Steve laid out what could come next here. Obviously, the death penalty that the state is seeking. What about this protective order for Erica Kirk? Is that something that is typical in the course of an investigation like this, a prosecution like this?
Sure, yes. As to prospective victims, it's usually not entered against someone's spouse, but it makes sense here because this is not some street crime or a crime of passion. This is someone who was apparently, whether by this defendant or not, targeted. And so it makes sense to say, well, close members of the family may also be targeted as well. So it's not unusual for judges to enter those kinds of protective orders as sua sponte on their own or in response to a request from the prosecution.
All right. Well, that is that. So let's progress to the next egregious fallout from Tyler Robinson's actions. So ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel off the air for his comments, and I read the comments. I don't know that it was that controversial. Let's see here. Give me one sec. Somehow or another. There we go. So let's play it just a few seconds because apparently it wasn't even on his show. It was like at the Emmys or something. I don't ever watch the Emmys.
On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can.
Yeah, I don't I read the text of it. I don't see what was so controversial. Black Knight salute, how you doing? This is a chess move with Jimmy. We know he's a what the fuck? Okay, I have no idea what that means, Tyrone, but welcome aboard with your wacky self. So let's listen to a little bit. I'll stop it when it gets kind of, repetitive.
ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel off air for Charlie Kirk comments after FCC pressure. This article is by John Koblin, Michael M. Grinbaum, and Brooks Barnes, and read by an automated voice. ABC announced on Wednesday evening that it was pulling Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show indefinitely, after conservatives accused the longtime host of inaccurately describing the politics of the man who was accused of fatally shooting the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. The abrupt decision by the network, which is owned by the Walt Disney Company, came hours after the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, assailed Mr. Kimmel and suggested that his regulatory agency might take action against ABC because of remarks the host made on his Monday telecast. The network did not explain its decision, but the sequence of events on Wednesday amounted to an extraordinary exertion of political pressure on a major broadcast network by the Trump administration. Many Democrats immediately criticized the move, with Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, calling it outrageous. but President Trump, in a social media post from Windsor Castle in Britain, where he is traveling, described it as great news for America. The decision to suspend Jimmy Kimmel Live was made by Robert A. Iger, Disney's chief executive, and Dana Walden, the company's television chief, according to two people with knowledge of the matter, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a private process. The comments at the center of this week's firestorm came during Mr. Kimmel's opening monologue on Monday night. We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it, the host said. Conservative activists castigated those comments, saying they mischaracterized the political beliefs of Tyler Robinson, the accused shooter. Prosecutors said Mr. Robinson had written in private messages about Mr. Kirk's hatred, but the authorities have not identified which of Mr. Kirk's views the suspect found hateful. His mother told prosecutors that her son had recently shifted toward the political left and had become more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. Mr. Carr, in an interview on a right-wing podcast on Wednesday, said that Mr. Kimmel's remarks were part of a concerted effort to lie to the American people, and that the FCC was going to have remedies that we can look at. Frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, Mr. Carr told the podcast's host, Benny Johnson. These companies can find ways to change conduct and take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead. Mr. Carr's criticism of Mr. Kimmel was the latest attack against the media by the president and his administration. Mr. Trump himself sued ABC
Dave
last year in a case that
told
the
me
network
what?
paid $16 million to settle.
Once again,
On Monday, the
you are
president filed a
falling for
defamation
Trump's
lawsuit against the New York
okey-doke,
Times
and
and
it's
four
your
of its
right to be
reporters.
dumb,
This
and it's
summer,
my right to
Mr.
point
Carr's
out that I
FCC
think you're
approved a
dumb.
major merger involving CBS's owner, Paramount, days after CBS agreed to pay
Zero
$60
win
million
for Deacon
to
Dave.
settle a separate lawsuit
You are
filed by the
in
president.
Stanley's court now,
CBS also
and I'm
canceled The
whipping
Late
you.
Show with Stephen Colbert, ending a network franchise for over 3 decades after next May. CBS said the cancellation was for financial reasons, but many in the media industry have speculated that it was done to curry favor with the Trump
Do your
administration while
best.
Paramount's
The
merger was
link is
pending.
posted.
Mr. Colbert,
Oh, and
like
by the
Mr.
way,
Kimmel, is frequently critical of
sorry.
Mr. Trump and his policies. Mr. Kimmel had planned to address the backlash to his comments during his Wednesday telecast.
Let me put it to you this way, and there's several things here. These companies like ABC and CBS, they don't even have the balls to tell you why they're doing it when it's so obvious. And Joy Reid and Don Lemon, but especially Joy Reid, it turns out that these networks were holding back. Stephen Colbert is going to fucking thrive without the limits that working. In a way, it's kind of a weird, and I know I'm skipping around a bit, but these thoughts are coming into my head as I speak. Hold on, Deacon Dave. I'll get to roasting your dumb ass in a minute. That CBS, that it's a tragedy that MSNBC fires Joy Reid, or CBS essentially, puts Colbert, who happens to be a personal favorite of mine. I think Stephen Colbert is funny as shit on politics. He's actually even better than most. All they're doing is unleashing these creatives to go out and kick ass on YouTube, or just basically go to Substack. Joy Reid literally will have 1 million followers on YouTube if she doesn't already. So in a way, firing people, I don't know about Jimmy Kimmel so much, but I do know someone like a Stephen Colbert who's immensely popular. Someone like Joy Reid, who's relatively popular. In a way, you want to keep them at CBS or ABC, because working for corporate tends to corral them a little bit. You put them on YouTube, and these people are actually rich enough to just do their own Truth Social. You're actually not doing yourself a favor. You unleash Stephen Colbert with no limits. And Trump has a shelf life. You know, that's how nature works. So, SKC, what's up? Good to see you. Ratings matter until you fire the person and they take something like YouTube. You start a YouTube show where ratings don't matter. And let me give you a good example, SKC. And Dave, I'll let you up, but you need to hold on a minute before you're roasting. Let's use a good example, this great rift that is between me and John Galt. John Galt is more popular, but in the end, I'm going to win because I'm simply smarter and I'm not as racist. The good guys do win. Bottom line is, look, I never had great expectations in the first place, but if you actually look at my numbers, there's some promise there. And I don't plan on changing. You know, there'll be tweaks like not doing 80-hour shows. But you know what? I literally have had zero regrets. I should have done it earlier. And Fred, who's I've known Fred for a few years via a Discord we're both on. He told me fucking like 2 months. He literally left John Galt's channel because of all the anti-black bullshit. And Fred is not shy about, this buddy of mine, he's not shy about calling blacks out for all the, toxicity. He actually probably agreed with some of John Galt's, culture critiques, but he just couldn't fucking stand the racist attitude that John Galt has. So I actually lost, it's not like I had a bunch of fans, but I lost subscribers, or John Galt lost subscribers, not because of me. So, that a Napstar, not Napstar, what's his name? Nas 415. Two things. I compliment John Galt for being resistant to some of the people who were, anti-Stanley. I do compliment John Galt for finally figuring if I let this man like fucking shit on me on my own channel for much longer, I'm going to lose even more subscribers. So kudos to John Galt for sobering up and finally figuring out that, oh, hey, I could get more stuff if I get rid of the voice of reason. And you know what? I'll never be as popular as John Galt because I don't hate black people and I don't hate my upbringing. I'm basically a very happy person. I could call my father right now. We have a good old conversation. I didn't hate my father. I still have my hair. I did the best I could with my son. And I'm relatively happy. So some folks don't like to see happy black people who, I'd lob a criticism, but I have my own ideas and I read books. That's really the biggest problem people like John Galt have. And I'm not shy about calling them idiots. So the people, I don't think the be brave types are really the problem. The crab in the barrel blacks like John Galt, they don't like seeing a free thinking black man. That's really what people like John Galt don't like. Hey, motherfucker, I don't think like you because I have a better education or I've read more books. And I'm not shy about telling someone like John Galt, hey, I'm happy and I disagree with it. Well, Stanley, you live among whites. Motherfucker, I live where I can afford to live. I don't care whether it's all black, all white, or anything. I have a decent house and I could afford to live here, and I like trees. That's why I'm here. I literally didn't look at the demographics of the neighborhood. I just like the house. So, bottom line is sometimes a Stephen Colbert or sometimes a Joy Reid or sometimes a Don Lemon or sometimes on a minuscule scale of comparison, sometimes a Stanley Cross actually benefits by not having limits imposed. Okay, with John Galt, I had to hey, it's got to be a morning show, and hey, it's got to be this way or that, and suggestions that I used to go, I'm not fucking doing that a lot. The only reason I did an overnight show was actually respect for John Galt's channel, because I knew my views were pretty much 180 degrees out from most of his main core base audience. The motherfuckers, most of them are too stupid to actually think outside of their own racist cages. It's funny, people like John Galt, who swear that you can only be black by living in the ghetto, they're literally living in a plantation of their own making. They are prisoners of their own limited thinking, prisoners of white supremacy.
Hey, good morning, Stanley.
Motherfucker, you will wait. Okay, the bottom line is I see things, dude, I can put you in the back if you're going to over chuckle me.
I know what this is about.
Don't be a Wale. Bottom line is sometimes being free of your corporate job actually makes you more creative. So, well, the thing is, SKC is she's been fired for, I think her channel, it's definitely less than a year old. And let me put it to you this way. She has more subscribers than Hood Servative does. So I'll leave it at that. So Dave, I'm sorry. I just had to get that rant off my chest. No, EAE, we don't have to find Stanley a new neighborhood with ninjas. I'm happy where I am. Shit, I'm a 15-minute walk from a fucking fishing hole. Why would I leave? And yes, Black Knight. I just made that word up over chuckle. Dave, you there? Well, I'll wait till you come back, and in the meantime, we move on. So
I came in peace, Stanley.
Oh, well, hey, I have no doubt you did, and my comments were delivered in peace, but I'm going to speak my mind.
Yeah, I'm not trying to cut you off or nothing, but I did tell you, and you said that it was all lies.
Okay, tell me what? Well, I didn't hear anything about Robinson's mother.
I put it in the chat. You said it was fake news.
It is fake news.
Oh, okay.
But let me go back and find it. I didn't see it in the chat. Can you put it in the back chat?
No. What I put in the chat was that his mother came out and said what his political views were. Your response was fake news.
My response was that's fake news.
Yeah, and your tone.
Okay,
right now.
No. Give me a link so I can read where you got that information from. That's my point. Just because Deacon Dave says it, that's not authoritative enough.
Well, you just played the link.
Did I?
Yeah. You don't listen to your own articles?
I played the NBC link, or are you talking the ABC link?
They're all the same. They all say the same thing.
Give me the link that I just played, that the New York Times article. Nothing about his mother other than he had a mother. The one before that was his trial, or his pretrial hearing, or whatever you call it. Nothing about his mother.
I
Stop
know.
making shit up.
I know. I know.
Give me the source of your claim, and I will gladly display it.
They said exactly in your link what I put in your chat.
Deacon Dave.
Now you need me to
Deacon
give you a
Dave,
story. It's the same thing.
Literally, there's nothing about his political views in either of the articles. Thank you for participating.
Yeah, I appreciate the early
I don't
morning.
know what kind of MAGA mind trick are you trying to do?
I appreciate the early morning win. It goes good with my coffee.
Hoodservative wasn't on mainstream media for years and didn't graduate from Harvard. That's why he doesn't have as many subscribers as Joy Reid does in just a few months. So thank you very much, Hoodservative. I didn't mean to insult you like that, SKC. Yes, that's why SKC does not have that's why Hoodservative does not have the base, the subscribers. He didn't go to Harvard and he wasn't on mainstream media. That's why the motherfucker is small potatoes.
I'm like you, Stanley. I have a hard time.
I love talking to SKC, how he proves my points. Dude, I love you, man.
I'm just like you, Stanley. I do have a hard time understanding.
We're going to look at it, Kelvin, at some point.
I have a hard time understanding that most people don't believe that fat meat be greasy, and you're doing that.
Okay, dude. My father used to say most people don't believe lard is greasy, and it is greasy. That's why Hoodservative pointed out what. I'm sorry, I keep getting y'all confused now.
No, you're doing that on purpose.
That's why SKC is pointing out that Hoodservative doesn't have as many subscribers as Joy Reid. He doesn't have her credentials. So, I mean, thank you for the logical comeback. Of course, that's why Hoodservative doesn't have 288,000. He doesn't have the credentials. He doesn't have the background, and he doesn't have the intelligence, quite frankly.
Oh, Stanley, maybe you should play that article again.
Why?
This is the same thing I would have put in your chat if you asked me for proof.
Okay,
just like I heard it. The rest of the chat heard it. You didn't hear it.
Deacon Dave. Well, I didn't hear something that's not there. Now I can't account for the voices in your head. Maybe you have your own, maybe you have your own personal links in your own brain computer. There was nothing about the mother talking about him being left.
It clearly was. What is wrong with you, man?
It literally wasn't.
You missed it. You wasn't even listening to your own shit. Over here thinking of something clever to say to your chat.
You know what? I'm going to do you the favor. Let's see here. You know
his mom cried that his son had been dabbling in the leftist political view. Literally.
Okay, dabbling. The dabble.
Sleeping with a gay man.
Leftist. Dude, literally.
There's no such thing as trans.
Okay, dabbling. Dabbling means he is a leftist. Dude,
he was there.
I read conservative newspapers and conservative books. Does that mean I'm a conservative?
Nah, he definitely donned the leftist political.
You want to talk about definitely, you want to do all this stuff again. I think this is a win for Stanley. I got one
there was nothing for you to win.
I got one W
me contending your point of view.
For the morning, I have one W against Deacon Dave, and I have another W with SKC. Two W's. I'm loving it.
Parallel plane, maybe, but not here.
I'm loving it. Dabble. He dabbled. Dude, dabble does not mean believe. That doesn't mean adopt.
Play your link again. What you need to do is play your link again and pay attention.
You literally told me what caught your attention. You dabbler.
You dibbler.
You believe that dabbling makes you a true believer?
You have the luxury of focusing on your own weak argument.
Oh, I have the luxury of having my own show.
There you go. Now play the link again.
Hey,
And this time pay attention.
I don't think I need to.
I know you won't.
Well, let's see. Decision. Let's do a quick read through. As a matter of fact, let's do one better. Let's do a control F. Mother. Okay. Mr. Kirk's views, the suspect found hateful. His mother told prosecutors that her son had recently shifted towards the political left and had become more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. Okay. Recently shifted towards the political left and so pro-gay trans rights means he's a leftist, had shifted towards the political left, does not mean he's a leftist. And a grieving mother will fucking say anything. And look at his history. So what are you saying now? He's a leftist? He shifted towards, oh, where'd Dave go? No, Deacon Dave is wrong. He's on shifting sands, and I'm the one who shifts his sands. Shifted towards a political left doesn't mean he's a leftist anymore. Basically, she's describing his Overton window. His views had become more left. He could still be on the right. Deacon Dave, SKC, two political amateurs, and obviously not that good at rhetoric. Dude, I will out rhetoric the both of you, sometimes combined. Shifting left does not make him a leftist. Thanks for playing. Do better next time. So anyway, this is Heather Cox Richardson. And the part I want to get to in this newsletter, I think the Washington Post article pretty much covered it. But I want to point this out. This paragraph right here, the largest operator of ABC affiliates, Nexstar, which needs FCC approval for a $6.2 billion merger, said it would stop airing Kimmel's show from its stations. Then ABC suspended Kimmel's show. Same playbook that CBS had with whoever they got bought by. I can't think of it now. Look, if you want your merger to go through, FCC approval, basically, we don't have to come out and say it. We'll just go, hey, maybe the FCC should start looking closer at your licensing. In this case, ABC News, they were going to look at the news licensing, all because of a merger. Essentially, a business deal is threatened to be interrupted. Therefore, this show is prompted. Disney is prompted to act in favor of MAGA's lack of humor, for starters. So basically, right now, MAGA is a First Amendment threat, and who knows how it turns out. They've got the keys to the government car. They can pretty much go where they want to go. Hopefully what happens is they become so unpopular that they just get voted out if they allow elections. But, that's going to be a different show. So anyway, this is Heather Cox Richardson trying to draw a parallel with what Trump is doing. And, part of the history of the Constitution. I'm a big fan of, history rhymes. And this moment in current events is reflective of a moment in U.S. history. And Heather Cox Richardson is probably one of the best at drawing these parallels. Ted Sturmer is another one, but he's not,
A year after declaring their independence in 1776, the 13 states rebelling against the King of England adopted a League of Friendship to fight the Revolutionary War. But with the end of the war in 1783, the Articles of Confederation defining that league proved too weak to hold the people of the new nation together. In 1786, as the threat of foreign intervention hung over the country, leaders called for a new government centered not on the states, but on the people themselves, represented by a national government. A year later, in May 1787, 55 delegates from 12 of the states met in secret in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They drafted a document that reached beyond the power of states directly to the power of the people. Having learned from their experience with the Articles of Confederation that men would not put the needs of the country above their own quest for power, the framers designed a system in which centers of power would each check and balance the others. The Constitution established a representative democracy, a republic, to provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. Under the new system, 3 branches of government would balance each other to prevent the rise of a tyrant. The framers of the Constitution turned first to a legislative branch, creating a body of people to write laws. They divided Congress into 2 chambers, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The framers expected the House to reflect the current mood of voters, so they established that all its members would have to be elected every 2 years. As the chamber closest to the people, only the House can originate spending bills, and its members are also the ones who can check a bad president by impeaching him. The framers expected the Senate to act as a brake on the popular mood reflected in the House, so they established that only a third of it would turn over every 2 years. The Senate is responsible for advising the president on senior appointments, and it has to grant its consent to the president's choices. The Senate is also charged with acting as a jury to decide if a president is guilty of the things the House alleges in the case of impeachment. The framers turn next to the executive branch, which includes the president and the vice president, as well as the executive departments that oversee crucial aspects of national life. The executive branch was designed to turn over every 4 years. The president's job was to make sure that the laws Congress wrote be faithfully executed. If Congress overstepped, though, the president could veto proposed legislation. In turn, Congress could override a presidential veto. Although the framers gave Congress the power to declare war, they made the president commander-in-chief of the army, and also gave the president the power to make treaties with foreign countries, splitting power over foreign affairs. Finally, a judicial branch, a system of courts, would settle disputes between inhabitants of the different states and guarantee every defendant a right to a jury trial. The new plan was an elegant system of paths and tripwires to make sure a strong government could not become a dictatorship. In this system, the new national government was uppermost. The Constitution provided that all citizens of each state would enjoy the same rights and protections, and that the national government would guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government. Finally, the framers declared, "This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby, anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding." I agree to this Constitution with all its faults, if they are such, 81-year-old revolutionary leader Benjamin Franklin said after a weary 4 months spent hashing it out, because I think a general government necessary for us. It astonishes me, he went on, to find this system approaching so near to perfection as it does, and I think it will astonish our enemies who are waiting with confidence to hear that our states are on the point of separation, only to meet hereafter for the purpose of cutting one another's throats. On the whole, Franklin said to his colleagues, I cannot help expressing a wish that every member of the convention who may still have objections to it would, with me, on this occasion, doubt a little of his own infallibility, and to make manifest our unanimity, put his name to this instrument. On September 17th, 1787, they did.
Okay, and let me point out that this isn't, some me worshiping the framers of the Constitution. What I want to point out is that this MAGA movement, what the current events are with Charlie Kirk and ABC and CBS, this is a white people problem. And I mentioned it earlier at the start of the show. Deacon Dave and SKC and even me, can offer our opinions because that's kind of what we do. Somehow, we all have positions on current politics, but by and large, this is a white people problem. You got a president and an administration and currently a Congress and a Supreme Court that are basically, ignoring what their great white fathers wanted the country to look like. The glorification of the Second Amendment over the First Amendment, the weaponization of government that Trump is nakedly doing. It's a problem, but it's a white people problem. People like Be Brave often glorify the whiteness of the country. Be Brave has literally said that blacks ought to just enjoy the ride and be glad they don't live in Africa, something to that effect. Well, white people, fix it. And we'll watch. And I definitely want to hear from the SKCs of the world or the John Galts of the world or the Deacon Days of the world or the Hood Servitists, because I'm right. Y'all can fucking glorify your white masters, but if you wanna follow their foolishness and not hold them to their own constitution, and it's our constitution, but I find it rather amusing that the white people who were glorifying the Constitution 20 years ago, now that it doesn't suit their political aims or whatever their aims are, I find it hilarious that they're shitting all over their own document. So let us move on. Let's see. This is Trump in Britain. And this Kelvin asked about King Charles's speech glorifying Trump. I'm not sure if this is the video, but let's have a look at it.
Characteristically dour skies greeted President Trump as he relished an unprecedented second state visit with his second British monarch. Matching the First Lady's plum-colored Christian Dior hat, the president toured the grounds of Windsor Castle with King Charles. Aboard a carriage, Queen Elizabeth II took to her wedding, laid a wreath at the late Queen's tomb, and stood for a royal review of the troops, the largest ever. 1,300 marching in uniform, 120 horses, and a
Jesus
red, white, and blue
Christ.
flyover. Tonight's
Wonder how
lavish
much
state
all
dinner
this
for
bullshit
160 invited
cost.
guests included toasts to unity.
The successes of the
Look at Trump.
and of George Washington's Continental Army today stand shoulder to shoulder, brothers and sisters in arms, protecting the freedoms we both cherish.
The bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal. It's irreplaceable and unbreakable.
But the carefully choreographed visit masks lingering strains.
Donald Trump, you can't hide!
Thousands marched in London against the president, who remains deeply unpopular with the British public. While protesters
What's up,
Tuesday
humble
night
president?
projected the infamous photo of Trump and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein onto the castle walls.
That is true, Sugar
And
Bomb.
tense issues from trade and tariffs to the wars in Ukraine and Gaza will be discussed with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The Brits know the president enjoys being flattered. It's why everything about today was grander than ever before, and why he was seated at dinner tonight between the king and
And by the way, there is a King Charles. Trump's little pursed lips. Let me go back because it struck me right here. See how Trump looks with the little lips, like I'm waiting for the praise. I'm waiting for the praise. There may be a King Charles in Britain. And Kelvin, let me see if you're still here. Because this comment is going to be for you. Yep, you're still here. So there is a King Charles, but Trump's look in this little picture right here, he is Emperor Trump. So, you know, your little kingship, Britain, America is your emperor, and Trump looks every bit the part. He doesn't even need fucking medals. He's just the emperor, and he has clothes. Oh boy, I'm having a good old time with this. So next, this is going to be a little time late, but Trump met with did a press conference with Keir Starmer. So I want to watch this. No idea. It was live. I think it's already happened, but we were talking about other things. So let's see what Emperor of Britain Trump has to say. Emperor of Britain and America.
All right. So what we're going to do is this. Here's what we're going to do. Ready? We're going to do this. Now, I know it looks kind of weird now.
Oops.
We're going to do this and do this. Fine. And then I'm going to put something up that says, this is going to be from moments ago, a few minutes ago.
You know, Trump is like, what? Why do I have to fucking do this? Where's my eggs Benedict?
And then I'm going to put up there. I'm going to also put up there that we're replaying.
Oh my God.
We're
Just get to it, son.
We are awaiting the press conference.
Okay, let's skip ahead.
Welcome you again for this unprecedented second state visit. And it's a great pleasure for me personally to welcome you to my home from home here at Czech.
I just have to point out Trump's demeanor. For him, it's like, yeah. Let's get it over with there, Prime Minister. I've already had your king bow to me, the emperor. This is like Trump is basically declared emperor of Western civilization right now. And, you know, all you kings and prime ministers, you bow to me, and you better be praising me. when you do it. Now give me breakfast.
So thank you very much for taking the time to say hello to the staff. They've done a brilliant job, and they've been preparing for weeks. And it's really so good to have you here. So thank you so much. You are among friends. And I think we all agree there's so much to celebrate in this special relationship between our
Trump looks real happy. Who are these knaves?
together in war and in peace. This bond is the very foundation of our security, our freedom, and our prosperity. But what is the relationship all about?
I also want to give a little bit of empathy to Emperor Trump. Look, I'm older. I'm probably the oldest person on this show. Everybody else in this chat is younger than me. I know grumpy old man face, and I have displayed grumpy old man face. It's like, dude, let's just get this shit over with so I can go back to bed. That's the body language, and I empathize. You know, you young folks, just leave it to the young folks. Call me when you need me. I'll sign something, and then I'll go back to do what I want to do. Old man face.
When it comes down to brass tacks, it comes down to leaders, of course, leaders who respect each other, leaders who genuinely like each other. And it comes down to our unique relationship.
He has to touch him on the shoulder to wake him up.
The world has ever seen. It comes down to the connections between our people, ties of family and friendship.
Yeah,
The president
that's why they were such friends.
of that. But it also comes down to business, to all of you here, and thank you so much for coming here this afternoon. It's fantastic to have you with us as the best evidence of that people-to-people, business-to-business relationship that thrives in the special relationship. In so many ways, this
It's a special relationship. It is a one-way relationship, and Trump is bored. I expect him to clap and go, dance, Starma, dance. Where are you, Kelvin? Where's your commentary? Hit the link.
American companies like Microsoft, Citigroup, Boeing, Amazon, and Blackstone do the same here. Together, we support over 2.5 million jobs across both economies. So this relationship is embodied in each and every one of you here today. We have, if you like, the great and the good of British and American business sitting with us. Leading lights in tech like Jensen, Ruth, Dennis, and Satya. Finance, Jane, Larry, and Steve.
Look at Trump's body language. Yada, 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 yada. Blah, blah, blah. Let me speak. Blah, blah, blah. Yada, yada. That's literally Trump's body language.
As it should be. And just look at what we're achieving today together. The deals and investment that you're announcing.
Yada, yada, yada. Yada, yada, yada. What is British for blah, blah, blah? Look at Trump. Hey, Trump is disrespecting your country there, Kelvin. What you got to say?
So thank you so much.
Give him a full English breakfast and maybe he'll be happy.
The embodiment of that special relationship. And let me spell out what that means. It means life-changing investments across the United Kingdom. It's expected to create 15,000 jobs in Belfast, in Birmingham, Hartlepool, the Humber, and well beyond.
All cities, Trump has no clue. He just knows they're kind of in England. That's about it. Bangers and mash. Hey, Black Knight, this motherfucker wants burgers and mash. He wants Big Macs and mash.
The UK is one of the world's largest economies. Maybe not quite on the scale of the United States, I concede, but my word, we punch above our weight. And we lead the
Britain
world.
punches above its weight. You literally had a fucking prime minister describe yourselves as small potatoes, but we punch above our weight. Kelvin, we must have your commentary on this.
The best universities, the most Nobel Prizes, and we have them here outside the US. That's what we bring to the table. And we are proud.
We bring burgers and mash to the table, Emperor. Feast.
Look at the economic prosperity deal that we struck back in May. It was the first trade deal that the president made. And yes, it was the best deal as well. We have the lowest tariffs in the world.
Look at Trump's body language. God damn, that's disrespectful.
Negotiation. But we did
What
it
in the hell?
because it's a win for both sides. Because we knew that by working together, we could deliver more for working people. We could help
Now he's looking over how much fucking longer is this Brit gonna be talking.
in communities up and down our country. And ultimately, that is the test of the special relationship. How much it delivers for honest, hard-working people to make them safer and better off. We've already taken a big steps forward, and we're going further today, much further. In a moment, the President and I will sign our groundbreaking new technology partnership, the Tech Prosperity Deal. It's a blueprint to win this new era together, shape it according to our shared values, and seize the incredible opportunity.
Okay, I'm going to skip this very boring speech ahead. Oh, wait. Did Trump speak?
And write everything off in the first year.
Here we go.
Regulation that allows you to incredible for our country. So incredible.
You're hearing a lot of like birds and stuff, so I don't know what the deal is with the microphones.
It's all in Trump's head. You're hearing the
hopefully the sound will be better
chirping in Trump's brain.
All right. So again, I'm keeping an eye out for the press conference. As soon as I have video, I will put it on the screen for you.
Of course, they're our strongest ally. SKC? Why wouldn't they be?
Proud of is the border. We now have a totally closed border, totally secure for 3 months. 0 people came into our country, dead people. And they come in, but they have to
This motherfucker's not even. Listen, Trump is not even talking about Britain. He's talking about the U.S. giving credence to America first. Who gives a fuck about Britain? Our strongest ally, according to SKC. SKC, I hope you're listening closely.
And inflation is virtually
Nothing to do with Britain so far.
We're taking in trillions of dollars from tariffs, and they've been so.
See, this is one of these PR things where you got to keep repeating it because eventually the dummies like Deacon Dave will believe it. And Dave, I'm picking on you. I'm just kidding, Dave. But, you know, SKC, all y'all believe this stuff because Trump keeps saying it. The dude is literally in Britain, sitting next to the British Prime Minister, and he's talking about what's going on in the U.S. like he's a newscaster. And poor Kair, he looks, there's not a goddamn thing he can do about it. And I kind of enjoy it. This is what has become of the empire. Emperor Trump is fucking taking over the Brits.
We're keeping companies happy. We're keeping them solid and sane, and they're very, very thrilled at what's happened. They can't even believe it. And we've never seen investment like this without the tariffs. We would have just a fraction of that. And we're really the only one that can do tariffs. Nobody else is able to do them.
I suspect Britain is going to be the 51st state.
We slashed 30-year-old regulations, and as you know, in my first term, we had a very successful first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country.
SKC, who gives a fuck about your investments? And why do they matter to anyone other than you?
Again, we're slashing them at a level that is even beyond what we did in the first term. first term, we did more regulation cutting by 4
This
times
is what
any
people
other
do.
any other
Anecdotes mean everybody should see it your way.
we've done.
Do better, SKC.
And we think we're going to exceed that this time. And we'll have regulation, but it'll be sane regulation.
Aye. It's what you need, but I'm glad you're doing well, SKC, but not everybody is you.
Have that regulation. But we slashed regulations at a level that's never been done before, and we're doing it at the same level right now. I recently signed the largest tax cut.
SKC's investments, Black Knight, are a hedge against egg prices.
Nobody's ever seen anything like that, and it lasts for a 10-year period, so it's going to be there for a while. But the countries and companies are coming into our country for the expensing aspect of the bill. That was in I call it the big, beautiful bill, the great, big, beautiful bill. We got so much, the largest bill ever passed.
What has Trump said about England? Are you listening to this, SKC? What exactly has Trump said about Britain? This is awesome.
Expensing is going to be the reason, I think, that bigger than anything else, when you have 1 year expensing, you can write everything off in the first year, including structure. So you didn't even have that in the first bill. I think it was the biggest factor in the first bill, why it led to such growth. And this is actually a better form of expensing, and it's actually more significant. So today, America is strong. Our economy is, I think, potentially the strongest it's ever been. We'll see very soon those big places that are being built all over the country. Car companies are moving in. AI is moving in. Everybody's coming in. They all want to be here. The drug companies are coming back. They all want to be there. They sort of have to be there, but they want to be there. But with this agreement, our cherished friendship with the United Kingdom is getting stronger and stronger. And again, I want to thank the Prime Minister. He worked very hard on this and getting this deal done. This is long in the making. We've been talking about it for a long time, and we got it done. And it's a real honor to be with you. And thank you very much.
So a couple of our viewers are mentioning this. It looks like maybe what happened is that on this particular broadcast, the video that I have, the sound might have been just the speaker sound, because one of the viewers said that they had seen it on like a different video of this, and the sound was fine. So this camera for this particular video, this is the AFP cam. It might have not been taking the sound from the microphones. It should be fine for the press conference. The press conference sound should be fine. So I do apologize for that. But it's better that we got to see it than not be able to see it at all. Yeah. So again, the press conference, the official start time I think is in 2 minutes, but I don't see any video yet. So
SKC. What's wrong?
So I have, it says around 9:20 on our screen.
See, this is what,
which is in
God
2 minutes.
damn it. You know, I don't know whether I am just being persnickety this morning because I have a lot of rest. Where does it matter where someone lives? Cali is in America, the last I checked. And so see, again, this is what MAGA folks do and far-right conservatives do. They basically want to argue points from their personal perspective. So SKC pays, what is it, $3.59 for a dozen eggs, and then he wants to criticize someone who doesn't have his personal circumstances in their point of view. This is literally MAGA. It's I'm doing well. Why aren't you? That's what I get from that comment, SKC. And let's see. Deacon Dave says, I don't want special treatment, Stanley. Be an equal opportunity roaster. If I step in some shit, don't hold back. When do I ever, Deacon Dave? So thank you for that hollow advice. I never hold back, especially when I know people can take it. Look at this. Average price of eggs in all of the U.S. is $3.59. Average implies all. No, average implies average. Dude, do you not understand math? Average does not imply all. It implies average. Averages are averages. God damn it, dude. That is so innumerate. It made me laugh. It averages, medians, averages takes everything in. Medians look at above and below. It implies that not everyone is paying $3.59 for eggs. That's what average does. It implies that not everyone is in the same circumstance. Dude, are all blacks innumerate? Ugh.
I don't think it's going to be that late because President Trump, he's leaving. I believe the press conference is his last major event on this state visit, and then he's going to fly back to the U.S. So I don't anticipate it being hours late, but it's supposed to be shortly. But it might be a few minutes late, so we'll keep an eye out. I don't even know if they take questions. Let me just kind of forward through here and see if.
You know what? I like your struggle logic. Keep trying to not be mocked. Let's see. Let's see what SKC. Let's see how he's gonna fight back. How do you get the average? You just said averages take everything in. Everything is not all. Okay. All people, all prices, all what? So now you're illiterate too. SKC, this is an argument you can't win. Okay. Averages mean that all perspectives, if you're paying $8 for eggs or paying $3 for eggs, you average it out just to give an idea of where something is. $3.59 is an average for eggs, simply means that eggs are cheap. It doesn't mean everybody's paying $3.59 for eggs. It does not mean there's not a problem. Once again, now, dude, if you make me get mean, I'm going to take a John Galt tack and just say, hey, stick to what you're good at. Numbers are not your game. All does not mean everything, by the way. So let's get back to actual stuff.
They take questions. They might take a couple questions right here. Hold on a second. So they're signing the thing. Let's keep watching this. And as soon as I see the video from the live press conference, I will throw it on the screen, but we don't have it yet. By the way, hey, quick thanks to our moderators. We have Ruth Krafasi moderating.
Literally.
Thanks. Ruth,
everything does not mean all.
YouTube,
look it up, dude.
Over on Twitch, Idaho Star. I got that fire. Thank you.
Maybe it's my background in actual Latin and like origins of words. Everything
Linda Bell
does not mean all.
Moderate for us on X. All right. So let's again. By the way, Fox News says the press conference will be soon. Either CNN or MSNBC said, I think soon as well. So we're keeping an eye out for that. Let's see here. This appearance that happened a few minutes ago. Let's see if we get some of the Q&A here. I think there's just the video. This video is almost over. So I don't know that we're going to get many Q&A. I think there's about a minute and a half left in the video.
Now let's skip ahead here,
but we'll see what's there.
Everything is not all interesting.
Mr. President and Prime Minister, for your fantastic leadership on the US-UK tech prosperity deal. This partnership builds on a rich heritage of scientific collaboration between our two great nations, pushing forwards the frontiers of human knowledge and technical innovation. The fruits of that historical partnership, from inventing the World Wide Web to mapping the human genome, have gone on to benefit all of humanity. In many ways, Google DeepMind, the frontier AI lab that I lead, is the modern
All right, the video basically cuts out in 20 seconds. So that's the video. We saw them speak at the
all right. Well, let's move ahead
at the business reception
because this is getting rather
country
boring.
residence of the UK Prime Minister. It's not his personal.
Prime ministers get country residences. Wow.
No, that's not really exciting.
Oh, there we are.
Multiple angles. Here they come. Trump and the First Lady. It's all happening, guys.
Look at Trump. He looks mighty happy.
Look at this. Here, I have the audio on. What can I say? You're hearing the live audio. I mean, you can't, they're not mic'd up right now. Here in Victoria Starmer and President Trump and the First Lady.
I think the prime minister's wife is better looking than Melania by far. She certainly looks more feminine. Why is Melania dressed up like Dora the Explorer or she's dressed up like she's going on safari? This is hilarious. Why is Melania dressed like she's in the Raj? A first lady in pants. I'm just gonna have to say that Mrs. Starmer is a lot more classy than Mrs. Trump right now.
I assume they're taking, this is for some photography, I would assume. Thank you for being with us for our live press conference coverage this morning.
All right. Well, now that Dora the Explorer, let's see what else is on here.
Oh, there's a shot of a plane. We have a shot of the plane flying around. Look, it's a plane.
What plane?
That is the
Look,
plane
it's
you
a
hear.
plane.
How about that?
Oh
You got
man,
to see
it's
the plane.
mighty cloudy.
Up, we got another shot of the plane. Oh no, we don't.
All right.
What's going on
Well,
with
you
this
know,
a wall? This camera is going to
so
show the
let's go ahead. Massachusetts. Apparently, there's a lawsuit against some executive order that Trump did. A lawsuit filed by 19 states against the Trump administration, challenging key provisions of Executive Order 14248, which would disenfranchise millions of voters, I assume. So, memorandum in order. Did I download? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Let me share this screen. I forgot to share it. One sec here. There we go. So Massachusetts, and I think I do actually have the executive order, but I didn't pull it up. So the judges granted the state's preliminary injunction blocking the documentary proof of citizenship requirements. Okay, so that's the executive order where you have to present like proof of citizenship to vote. And I really haven't kept up with this one. Michigan Party. Let's see. Because I'm actually interested. Let's see. Trump has directed action to amend the federal voter registration form to require documentary proof of citizenship and to require local election officials to record the details of that proof. Okay, well, here's the deal. States control elections, not the federal government. And that's where the crux of this argument is going to be. The federal government amend the Constitution. And this is what I mean about all of a sudden the Constitution is not good enough. Trump wants to be an authoritarian and override the Constitution. Again, this is a white people problem. Trump is a white people problem. And Deacon Dave, I'm glad you're amused by SKC's very weak argument. And this is the deal. Of course, if you can't disprove a point, clip what I say, attach it to another YouTube creator, and make your own meme, make your own story, your own narrative. Hey, you know what? This is why I always win these arguments. I simply know more. So hopefully you enjoy your memification and mockery of actual knowledge. I would quote John Galt about that's what blacks actually do. That's how they win arguments. They turn it into a YouTube video. I wonder if John Galt might not be right about some of this shit. So anyway, and Black Knight. This egg argument is so silly. Basically, this is the anti-black Thomas Sowell brother argument. Well, I'm doing fine. Why can't you? If you work harder, that's literally what this is implying. So I don't ever clip this dumb shit because I don't have to. It will always be present. So anyway, let us move on. Politico. Now, this kind of surprises me. Immigration judge orders Mahmoud Khalil deported to Syria or Algeria. And I can't remember what his origin story is, but he was a grad student. And somehow or another, they have found some inaccuracy. He is a legal resident, but something or another, they found either fabricated or incorrect in his application for legal immigrant status, and it's not looking good for him. So this is what happens if you go against the Trump administration and you're not a U.S. citizen. Now, here's the deal. The end part. In June, Farbirez, a Biden appointee, blocked the judge, I guess, blocked the Trump administration from deporting Khalil on foreign policy grounds. Days later, the judge ordered Khalil's release after determining he was not a flight risk or danger to the community. That allowed him to return to New York, where he was reunited with his wife, a U.S. citizen, and his newborn son, who is also a U.S. citizen, who was born during his detention. The Trump administration, however, has continued to seek Khalil's deportation via another rationale it tacked on after his arrest in Manhattan, that he applied for a green card, he failed to disclose all his past employment and membership in certain organizations. So essentially, and I've talked about this several times in the recent past, if a U.S. citizen, like his wife, and a U.S. citizen who is a minor, his newborn son, is going to be hurt, and the man is not a criminal of any sort, you make an exception. Don't really give a fuck about what you think. This is where, in my opinion, we've crossed the Rubicon into authoritarianism. Okay, I don't give a fuck if you don't like what he said or what he protested. He didn't break a law, and his wife is an American citizen. His newborn son is an American citizen. You simply make an exception. If possible, if he was a criminal, I might feel otherwise. This is what Deacon Dave and SKC and all these dumb fucks voted for. Hurt American citizens in being America first. Hey, you know what? America first means some American citizens may be hurt. Their families may be broken up, but we like natalism. We like family values, but let's break up families. Trump and his team are not bright. They're not well thought out. They are cruel. Cruelty is the point. And people, it is especially disturbing to me that blacks, legacy Black Americans who have deep roots in American history and maybe have heard some stories from their grandparents, who might have lived during a Jim Crow era, just fucking shake hands with the whites like Donald Trump and the MAGA deplorables. They shake hands and go, "You're right, sir. We approve." It's disturbing. And that's why I go after dumb ass logic. You bring your dumb ass up here and want to pretend that Trump is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yep, I'm going to shit on you and I won't feel sorry when I do. So clip it, bitches. Clip it. So let us move on. Senate Democrats raise concerns over Pentagon plan to use military lawyers as immigration judges. I don't know that I really need. I wish Juan were here because I'm kind of curious what he thinks. I don't think judge advocate type lawyers have any clue. You're going to have to send them to training. And sometimes it takes years to become an actual wise judge. But that's what Trump does. Don't think, be cruel. And never use actual, time to make the right decision is not of the essence. And I suspect why time is of the essence, given Trump's age and that sort of thing. But that's another show. So this next story is, I'm not going to dwell on it. But this is called Trump's fraying alliance with RFK Jr. I think RFK Jr. I think that Kash Patel. I think also that I'm actually kind of surprised that Pete Hegseth has lasted this long. But I do think RFK is going to have to go because now you got Republicans in the Senate, having some issues with him. And Kash Patel, I may show a little bit of a video. Kash Patel has this perpetual deer in the headlights look in his eyes. And then he wants to get all belligerent and fight back. whether he knows it or not, especially in the Senate, the Senate is not the House. It's a lot more collegial. And I think people notice when he just is openly disrespectful to senators. Even the Republicans don't want that kind of belligerence, even if they disagree politically. And little deer in the headlights Hindu is probably going to wind up, he's fighting for his job essentially. And he is Kash Patel is the Joe Pesci of the Trump administration. He's short and has to fight for respect. What? You're not giving me any respect. So let's concentrate on RFK right quick. So the question is, will congressional Republicans get serious about restraining Kennedy's perverse policies or forcing his resignation? And the little part, I can't remember, what is her first name? Is it Susan Monarez? Yeah, Susan Monarez, testifying before Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, confirmed what was widely known. After HHS Secretary RFK Jr. demanded on August 25th that she commit in advance to accepting recommendations of Kennedy's new crackpot vaccine panel and to dismissing several career officials, she refused and was promptly fired. Now, what she did right was she literally, she was a Republican nominee who had unanimous Senate approval to head the CDC. Unanimous, Democrats and Republicans. Or you know what? Actually, I'm wrong on that. It was unanimous Republican support. And I think there were, I don't know, there might have been a couple Democrats who voted for her as well. But anyway, following the meeting with RFK Jr., Monarez immediately phoned Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican Louisiana, a physician who had reluctantly voted to confirm Kennedy after getting assurances from Kennedy that he ignored once he narrowly won confirmation. Cassidy, who faces a MAGA challenger in 2026, was upset, but continues trying to straddle the fence, defending both Trump and Monarez. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing her name wrong. However, the point is that there's going to be problem keeping Kennedy. The motherfucker's just a crackpot. And the only people who seem to defend him, because I watched some of the hearing, the only people defending him yesterday were people like Rand Paul, who is also a physician, but a crackpot. I've never seen a physician, dude. Rand Paul was an ophthalmologist. There is no fucking way I would ever have my eyes examined by that motherfucker. There's a reason these doctors wind up in Senate. Now, Cassidy, I think he might be retired. He's a retired obstetrician, if I recall. Rand Paul, when he first ran for office, was not, retirement age. He just got tired of practicing medicine and having Ron Paul as a father. What else are you going to do but run for office as a libertarian? So let's see. Dave says, when you put Trump in as if he changed something, that is problematic. Dave, how about wake up and drink some coffee after SKC makes you a hearty breakfast of $3.56 eggs. It'll be a cheap omelet. Trump is dramatically changing things. It is problematic. in that Trump is literally anti-constitution. So that's the end of all the news articles I planned on covering. There's probably more that'll pop up. So let's go into, there are a couple videos, and I said I was going to finish up the Ben Shapiro Ezra Klein interview. Maybe I'll just show it later. I'm not, after watching this dumb shit, I'm not even interested in, doing serious news. So let's see here what we got. This actually interested me. The title is "I Make Six Figures as a Farmer Without Farming." I got to know about this. So let's see what we got here.
Hello, you all. As you know, I'm Jim Coleman. I'm here at Coleman Crest Farm. I want to talk to you today about how you can take your farm from zero to $100,000 and what I did here at Coleman Crest Farm to make that happen. I'm right now here in Garden of Eden. What you're seeing right now is my major #1 crop, and it's called okra. Okra is a
Really?
crop. It's in big demand.
You can
And a lot
make
of farmers
fucking
here in Lexington,
100,000
Kentucky,
from
they don't
okra?
grow it. So
Wow.
I've got the market to myself. So one thing that you want to do to be able to focus on growing your sales and making your farm profitable and successful and getting your farm to $100,000 is making sure that you're growing crops that are in high demand in your market that other farmers do not even want to be bothered with. I love okra because it's easy to plant, it's easy to harvest. My insects out here, all of the different ecosystem partners from all the different kinds of bugs, they don't even like the taste or smell of it. So it's low maintenance, it grows like crazy, and the yield on it is incredible. For me, I'm able to get it to the market without a lot of competition, and I can get a better price. I'm not out there having to compete and having to lower my price. So that's going to increase your sales. The second thing is that you've got to be the top salesperson out there. You've got to get out there and get with it. As the owner of your farm, whether it's a 1-acre farm or 10,000 acres, you're the CEO, you're the owner, you're the fixer, you're the mechanic, but most of all, you are the salesperson. So today, having good selling skills and good customer service skills are essential in helping you to be able to get your product sold at retail or at a farmer's market or wherever you decide to sell your produce. I rely on commercial accounts like independent retailers, restaurants, and wholesalers where I can drop big loads of my product and be able to help them to be able to get it sold to our customers that we are partnering with to be able to satisfy their needs. So you got to pick the right kind of distribution channel and the right kind of selling process that fits you. But most of all, you've got to have good personal selling skills. That means you've got to be enthusiastic. That means you've got to be able to tackle objections. You've got to be able to explain how your product is going to help to create more traffic in the store, how it's going to create more bottom line profits, and how it's going to help a lot of customers out there, commercial customers, as well as if you're out there at a farmer's market, how it's going to make their day, make them happy, and talk about all the health benefits. Again, I'm an organic farmer, so everything that I grow in Lexington, it's in demand because it's locally grown, it's organic, and my farm's got a ton of history. My great-grandfather purchased this farm back on March 27, 1888. So talking about your farm's legacy, talking about the benefit of your product, and talking about that it is locally grown and clean. It doesn't have any chemicals in it, and it's ready to go, and it's fresh. That is going to help you to be able to close more business. Also, you've got to be able to understand the pricing that's going on out in the market. You can't just go out and sell. You might sell your product at a price that's too low, where you're not making enough to be able to offset your cost. And you don't want to be where you're totally out of line with what the market is. You want to be a little bit above what the price is at wholesale. So whatever your price is, talk to your customers, find out what they're paying at wholesale for their various types of produce. And from there, look at your pricing, and I would bump it up 10 to 15%. You can't be at 50 because then you're out, out of control. They're going to say, you know what, you're nuts. I'm going to give you a chance. but you want to be competitive, but you also want to get that extra amount because you deserve it. You're locally grown. If you're an organic farm, you can talk about all the health benefits, and you're going to be unique out there, especially if you start growing great products like okra and other hard to find but high demand produce out there in the market. You've got to also work with what I've learned is you've got to be able to work with your nature partners, your what I call all the pollinators out there, and all of your friends that are ecosystem partners to help you to grow. This year's been a little bit of a challenge for us because, we've had 6 weeks of rain, and that hurt the number of bees out there and monarch butterflies that I usually am able to attract to my farm. So we got started a little bit late. That offset the growing time frame. And because we had a lot of our partners that suffered, we then had lower yields this year. So what I've learned is you got to make sure that you grow bees on your farm, that you continue to make it a great, easy to understand habitat for all of the different ecosystems that are coming in from bees from all over the world. We've grown sunflowers, and the year we've grown sunflowers, we've had more bees. Last year, when I did almost $100,000 in gross sales, we also grew sunflowers. And when we had sunflowers, that brought in a ton of different monarch butterflies as well as bees to help us. Bottom line is that you can exceed $100,000. I haven't even scratched the surface on our farm. I'm doing everything uncovered. I've got a great well system, but I'm on 1.4 acres of the 13 acres that I own here at Colwyn Crest Farm. So I could easily expand. On top of that, I could bring in a covered system called a hoop house or a greenhouse. I've had 1 or 2 of those and expanded on the amount of space that's uncovered. I could easily get this farm to $500,000 a year. Again, you don't need 10,000 acres to be able to generate $400,000 to $500,000. I'm on my way. I encourage you to do the same thing, but you can take it one step at a time. You can go at a half acre, then go to 1 acre, and then grow from there. Build your customer base, learn what's going on in the market, find out what's selling, find out more than what's selling, find out what's in demand that a lot of farmers, especially the local farmers, are not growing, and seize the moment and capitalize on that opportunity. So you can do it. You've got to focus. You've got to be strategic. It comes down to grit, smart, good selling skills, making sure that you're planning properly, growing things that are in demand, and making it happen. I wish you the best. I hope you to continue to watch the Jim Coleman Show, because I'll continue to have golden nuggets to be able to help you to meet your objectives and to help you to take 1 to 2 acres where you can get your farm also to $100,000 in gross sales. We'll see you out there.
I want to point out one thing. I actually present more business type videos, Black success, rather than, doing the Chitlin circuit, shitting on Blacks who can't do anything. I literally present people, Black Americans, making shit happen. Hey, it's what I do. I've been a success. I literally present proof of Black success. So never would have thought of doing this sort of stuff without people like John Galt. I don't want to wake up. I want to wake up with my child. He lived in the same house I did for quite some time. And hey, I am proof of concept. So let's catch up with Trump doing this press conference. Once again, I don't need to be a clown to present substantive stuff. Here we go. Hey, I'm not saying every person should be a farmer, Sugar Bum. It's one avenue to Black success. That's really my point.
The unique bond between our two countries. But today we've gone far beyond that. We've renewed the special relationship for a new era. United Kingdom.
Why don't you hit the link
United
again there,
States
Deacon
stand
Dave?
together today
You're
as
left.
first partners on defense, first partners in trade, with the groundbreaking deal we struck in May.
And this
And now
audio
with the
is
deal
low, so you'll have
just
to
signed
turn
this
up your
afternoon,
volume.
we're confirming our status as the first partners in science and technology, ready to define this century together, just as we did the last. This tech partnership has the power to change lives. It's our chance to ensure that technologies like AI, quantum, and others amplify human potential, solve problems, cure diseases, make us richer and freer, strengthen the cause of democracy, not tyranny. This is the territory on which the future will be won.
Trump has a different hairstyle almost daily. Anyone notice that?
To win this race together and to ensure it brings real benefits in jobs, in growth, in lower bills, to put more hard-earned cash in people's pockets.
I never lose arguments with you, Deacon Dave. It's better to let you think you won. It's a debate strategy. Hey, you're happy, I'm happy. It's a win-win there, son.
Set out this vision. They have responded with new deals and investment, breaking every record that we have. £250 billion flowing both ways across the Atlantic. That is a record. Expected to create 15,000 jobs here in the United Kingdom. High-skilled jobs in cutting-edge sectors where people can build careers for the long term, changing lives in communities up and down our country. And look, while we shape this bond for a new era, the fundamentals have not changed. Security remains the cornerstone of this special relationship. We have the deepest, most
They
advanced
keep saying special
relationship in the
relationship.
world. Our warriors train together and they fight together. Our industries build together. Everything from fast jets to the new AUKUS-class submarines. So now, as we drive up defense spending, we're going to sweep away the barriers to working together on new defense technologies so we can stay ahead of our adversaries. We're united in defense and security. Yes, absolutely. But we're also united in the pursuit of peace. We are working together to end the humanitarian catastrophe in the Middle East, get the aid in, free the hostages, and ultimately bring Israel and the region back towards a comprehensive plan which can deliver peace and security for Israelis and Palestinians alike. We're also working together to end the killing in Ukraine. In recent days, Putin has shown his true face, mounting the biggest attacks since the invasion began, with yet more bloodshed, yet more innocents killed, and unprecedented violations of NATO airspace. These are not the actions of someone who wants peace. So we've discussed today how we can build our defenses further, support Ukraine, and decisively increase the pressure on Putin to get him to agree a peace deal that will last. And President Trump, you have led the way here, and we will continue to stand and work together for security and for peace. Mr. President, next year we'll celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States. We've come on a long journey together since 1776. But it's no exaggeration to say that the partnership our two nations have built has shaped the world from the beaches of Normandy to the founding of NATO, to the creation of technologies that have revolutionized our lives. Time and time again, it is British and American men and women side by side, changing the path of history and turning it towards our values, towards freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. In Britain, we take huge pride in that. And let's be clear, this relationship is not just about history, it's about the future. It's about the benefits it delivers now and for decades to come, to make our people safer and better off. We've shown today that we're delivering those benefits, improving people's lives. So we will go into that anniversary year more optimistic than ever and more confident than ever about our two great nations and what they can achieve side by side. Thank you. And it is now my pleasure to give the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very much. Prime Minister Starmer, Melania and I are tremendously thankful for the wonderful hospitality that you and Lady Starmer have extended.
I don't know that Kelvin is still here, but dude, your prime minister is not looking like a leader. I don't know if you all remember the old Looney Tunes cartoon where the bulldog, I think his name was Spike, and I can't remember what the little chihuahua was, but that's what this looks like. It looks like a Looney Tune cartoon where Keir Starmer, the chihuahua, is going, "Thank you, Spike. Thank you, Spike. Oh, you're great, Spike. You're so big and mighty, Spike." That's literally what this press conference reminds me of.
Quite the place, I must say, quite the place. And we're grateful beyond words for the spectacular honor of the state visit yesterday at Windsor Castle, hosted by His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla. These are two fantastic people. We will never forget it. As I said last night, the bond between our countries is like no other anywhere in the world. The United States and the United Kingdom have done more good on this planet than any two nations in human history.
Oh,
That is
wow.
thanks in large part to the traditions of British liberty, which grew up on these isles, these
With great benefit comes great harm.
and were carried by our ancestors to the New World. We're forever joined, and we are forever friends, and we will always be friends. This enduring connection is why I was thrilled that the United Kingdom was the very first country with which we made a historic trade deal, and a very good trade deal. He's a tough negotiator. I think it was a better deal for you than us, but these are minor details.
It's a very good deal for both of us.
He's a great negotiator who will extend our unparalleled security alliance into the realm of economic security for the first time, and I look forward to finalizing it very soon. We'll have it done very quickly. We have also just signed a historic technology prosperity deal, one of a kind, to ensure our countries lead the next great technological revolution side by side. In fact, we just left the business leaders, the biggest in the world. Some are in this room right now. And that was quite a meeting we had on business and trade and technology. This trip has galvanized $350 billion in deals across many sectors, and we're committed to ensuring that the UK has a secure and reliable supply of the best AI hardware and software on Earth. And we supply that, and we'll make sure we supply it in quantity to the UK. We also are joining forces on quantum computing and nuclear power, a natural partnership for close allies. The United States, as you probably have heard, is doing better than it has ever done in terms of business and investment. The stock market has hit a new high, as you know, and that's for many, many days out of our fairly short 8 months. And we seem to be hitting new highs, and I think we're going to do much better even as time goes by. Jobs are at a record, and most importantly, we have more than $17 trillion, $17 trillion, and this is during an 8-month period being invested in the country, which is not only a record, but if you compare $17 trillion to the last year of the Biden administration, they did $250 billion. They didn't do $1 trillion for the 4-year period. We did $17 trillion of investment coming in. A lot of it's because of tariffs, and a lot of it's for a lot of other reasons, but there's never been anything like it. It's an economic superstar. That's what's become. It was mismanaged and badly handled for a long period of time, but it's not badly handled anymore. So that's a record. And remember, that's up until 8 months. We have another few months to go, and that number is going to get significantly higher, especially if we win a certain case that we're waiting to hear. That will be something like the world has never seen. I want to congratulate the United Kingdom on making the vital commitment to spend 5% of GDP on defense at the NATO summit this year. We've worked together very closely in so many ways. I'm very honored to tell you that we've solved 7 wars, wars that were unsolvable, wars that couldn't be negotiated or done.
Once again, nothing about the partnership. Trump needs to do. This is what I've done. If you say it 1,000 times, people like
Russia and Ukraine.
well, the MAGA folks, they're gonna believe it if you say it. What is it, 3 times?
Just about every conflict.
It's not even about this press conference. It's about Trump asserting that he is good for America.
It's going to get done. It'll all get done right. And likewise, Russia and Ukraine will get done. But it's, you never know in war.
Nah, Putin controls that.
Things happen that are very opposite of what you thought.
Well, what choice does he have, Black Knight? Putin is the beloved. Trump is the lover. It's a play to
Windsor Castle, what a place it is. The British Armed Forces
in any relationship. Putin is the beloved, as in he is in control, and
I know that
Trump
our
is his
service members
supplicant.
look forward, and we do look so forward to working even more closely with yours as you push toward that 5% goal. And I think, Mr. Prime Minister, you're just about there. You're going to be there very quickly, along with a lot of other great countries. I want to thank NATO and our wonderful head of NATO, who's really worked very hard, Mark, for the job they've done. As you know, NATO is at 2% GDP, and they didn't pay it. Now they're at 5%, then they pay it. And we appreciate that. And we're sending a lot of weapons to NATO. NATO is paying for those weapons in full. But we're sending them, and we're doing a great job at getting them what they need. And
Translation, NATO is my bitch.
Because the United States is
And Starmer is the head of my bitches. NATO is my harem, and Starmer is the head
British
bitch.
and American warriors have shed their blood side by side in defense of liberty and freedom. And that's why it's so imperative that the United States and the United Kingdom stand together for these fundamental rights and values of the English-speaking world. And we've always stood together, and we will continue to. Just last week, a great American, Charlie Kirk, was heinously assassinated for speaking his
Of
mind.
course, that's relevant.
He was a great young man, incredible future. Some people said he might be president someday. I told him, I said, Charlie, I think you have a good shot someday at being president. And he just wanted to take care of youth. He loved youth. I've never seen anybody relate to youth like Charlie, and they related to him, and they're devastated. But I appreciate the many British citizens who have offered their condolences. And again, Charlie was a great person. We'll be going out to a service on Sunday. I'll be leaving with some of the people in this room just to celebrate Charlie and all that he's done. So incredible. Never seen anything like it. But I hope
Well, you won't ever again either.
to defend the glorious traditions of freedom on both sides of the Atlantic. There could be no greater tribute to the immortal bonds of affection and loyalty that unite the British
Well,
and the
Tamika, essentially what Trump is saying is that I want you to be the next president because JD Vance is a bitch. I think you'd make a better president. That's essentially what Trump means. Now I'm making it up, but I think I'm credible.
We have a relationship like no other. It will always be that way. We will always be united. We'll always be together. And I just want to thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for the great job I think you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Spike. Thank you, Spike. Thanks for your attention, Spike.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We're going to take some questions. I'll call 2 or 3 to start with, and then I'll pass over to the President. I've got Chris Mason from the BBC first.
The President of Britain.
Chris Mason, BBC News. Mr. President, the UK is expected to recognise a Palestinian state in the coming days as the killing in Gaza continues. It often seems that you're the only person that Israel will listen to. What more can you say to them to tell them to stop? And why is the UK's position on a Palestinian state, in your view, wrong? And Prime Minister, what will the recognition of a Palestinian state actually achieve? Is it not just gesture politics to appease people in your own party? Thank you both.
Well, Chris, let me just start with that, because we discussed this amongst other things. We had the best part of an hour, I think, upstairs earlier today, just one-to-one, going through a number of affairs, world affairs, in private. And we absolutely agree on the need for peace and a roadmap, because the situation in Gaza is intolerable. The hostages have been held for a very, very long time, and they must be freed. And we need aid to get into Gaza at speed. And so it's within that context of a plan for peace, which we're working hard on, which not only did we discuss this morning, but our 2 teams have been working together on, that the question of recognition needs to be seen. And so it's part of that overall package, which hopefully takes us from the appalling situation we're in now to the outcome of a safe and secure Israel, which we do not have, and a viable Palestinian state. Thank you.
Well, simply, I want the hostages released now, right now, not 1, 2, we'll give you 3 more tomorrow. And, you know, like it's been, but we're the ones that got all the hostages released. We got many, many came to the Oval Office, and I've heard stories like I've never thought even possible. There was no humanity, no anything. I said to them, I said, was there any warmth shown during this stay? Like they offered you a little extra meal, they gave you a little smile, and they said, don't worry, you'll be okay. And every one of them said, not even a little bit. Amazing, you know, to think that during this stay, long stay, in some cases, we had a man the other day, 451 days he was there. I always ask that question. And was there any warmth shown? Just a little word of, you know, encouragement. And the answer is every time, absolutely not. I'm shocked to hear it, because in the worst cases, there's always somebody that comes through. We have to remember October 7th, one of the worst, most violent days in the history of the world, not just there, the history of the world. And I got to see the tapes, and I wish I didn't see them, actually, but I got to see them. And I want an end. I want the hostages released. And I think it's going to be okay. But it has been a brutal period of time. But this has been going on for a long time. This is not something that's over the last year, 2 years, but this has been for decades and decades. But we want it to end. We have to have the hostages back immediately. That's what the people of Israel want. They want them back. And we want the fighting to stop. And it's going to stop. But a lot of bad things. You know, Hamas said that they're going to put the hostages up as bait. They're going to put the hostages in front of any attack. And that's pretty brutal. We haven't heard that one in a long time. So we have to remember that. So I have a disagreement with the Prime Minister on that score. Okay? One of our few disagreements, actually.
Great. Can I take Jack from The Sun? Jack.
Thank you both. Jack Elson from The Sun. Mr. President, in the 9 months you've been in office, you've been incredibly successful in all but eliminating crossings on your southern border.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, illegal migration is at record levels in Britain. The Prime Minister is trying to tackle that. What advice would you give to the man standing next to you on trying to stop illegal migration in Britain? And Prime Minister, if I can just ask, the President is all about drill, baby, drill in terms of trying to secure American energy and cut bills for Americans. Meanwhile, you are turning Britain's back on oil and gas in favour of renewable energies, such as wind turbines. Why do you think that you are right and he is wrong?
So we had millions of people flowing in, totally unchecked. totally unvetted from the Biden administration. 25 million, in my opinion, that would be about 25 million. They came from prisons. They came from mental institutions. They were gang members. They were drug dealers. They came from the Congo. They came from all parts of South America. They came from everywhere. Think of it. Prisons from the Congo being released into the United States. Prisons opened up in Venezuela and many other countries pouring into the United States. And I couldn't believe it. One of the reasons I decided to run. I decided to run because I don't want to be controversial, but you see what's happened and you see all the information that's come out. We won in 2020 big. And I said, let's run. We got to run because I saw what was happening. And the worst thing that I saw was all of these people. You know, we've already solved inflation. We've solved prices. Oil is way down. Energy is way
No,
down.
you haven't solved inflation.
But
Wow.
What I saw happening with millions of people pouring into our country, I couldn't stand to watch it. And we've done a great job. Nobody, if you've seen the last, I appreciate your question, by the way. Nobody, absolutely zero, and I'm not even sure that's possible, but it's a very liberal group that come out with those statistics. The last 3 months, we had zero. From millions of people a year ago, we had zero people enter our country illegally. And we do have people coming in legally through a legal process and testing and lots of other things. I think it's very important, and we speak about it. And I think your situation is very similar. You know, you have people coming in, and I told the prime minister I would stop it. And it doesn't matter if you call out the military, it doesn't matter what means you use, but it's going to destroys countries from within. And we're actually now removing a lot of the people that came into our country. It's a very hard chore. We were given a very, very bad hand. Millions of people came in from prisons and mental institutions. We have to remove them. And we are removing them. We have no choice. And I feel very strongly about it. Thank you very much.
Jack, let me just deal with the question of returns, because this is obviously an issue we're taking incredibly seriously. We've struck a number of deals, both on cooperation with other countries, a problem right across Europe, to tackle the problem of actually breaking up the gangs that are running this trade. We have had a record number of returns, over 35,000 now since we came into office. That's the highest number for the best part of 10 years. We struck the returns arrangement with France, and notwithstanding the challenges to that scheme, which you've seen in the last few days, a flight went off at 6:15 this morning, successfully returning someone under that scheme. So that is an important step forward. Obviously, there's no silver bullet here. There's a range of things that need to be done. But given the challenges of returning people, it is important that we're able to prove it can be done. It was done. It was done early this morning. So I can confirm that that flight went. It went successfully. And I'm pleased about that. Now we need to ramp that up at scale, which was always envisaged under the scheme. But it's very important that we have been able to prove that the proof of concept, if you like, that this can be done, and will continue in that way. On the question of energy, firstly, let me be really clear that I am absolutely determined to ensure that the price and cost of energy comes down, so that bills come down, both for individuals, for families, with their household bills, but also for business, because this is so important. The mix will include oil and gas for many years to come from the North Sea. We've been clear about that for some time, but we also need to mix that with renewables, and it's the mix that's really important. And the approach I've taken on this is the same approach that I take to many other things, a pragmatic approach. Thank you, Jack.
I would like to say that we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. We had inflation, the likes of which we've really never seen. They say
That is wrong
years.
as well.
I'll
Look at
accept
the
that,
mid
but I
70s,
really
sir.
don't. We had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And we had a expression that I used a lot, drill, baby, drill. And as you know, we brought fuel way down, the prices way down. And we don't do wind because wind is a disaster. It's a very expensive joke, frankly. And we got our energy prices way down. That brought the inflation way down. And now we have very little inflation. And we have a very, very strong economy. So that was very important. Drill, baby, drill. And you have a great asset here. We spoke about it. It's called the North Sea. The North Sea oil is phenomenal. And I hope, because I love this country, you know, my mother was born in Scotland, and the Hebrides, Stornoway, that's Syria, Scotland. We were talking about it. And I want this country to do well. And you have great assets that you're going to start using, I believe, under this prime minister.
Thank you. And I've got Matthew from The Economist. Matthew.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Mr. President, you say that President Putin has let you down. Have negotiations run out of road? And what are your next steps to compel an end to this war?
Well, he has let me down. I mean, he's killing many people, and he's losing more people than he's killing. I mean, frankly, the Russian soldiers are being killed at a higher rate than the Ukrainian soldiers. But yeah, he said, let me down. I don't like to see it's death. You know, it doesn't affect the United States. We have, other than unless you end up in a world war over this thing, you could. This was a thing that would have never happened had I been president. If I were president, it would have never happened. And it didn't happen for 4 years. Most people agree it didn't happen, nor was it close to happening. And I spoke to President Putin about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. I've said that many times. It was. But he would have never done what he did, except that he didn't respect the leadership of the United States. They just went through the Afghanistan total disaster for no reason whatsoever. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, that one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. So a lot of things are happening, but I am very disappointed in the fact that that one's not settled. To think that we settled Azerbaijan and Albania as an example, it was going on for years. It was never going to be settled. If you remember, the prime minister and the presidents, they were there for many years. They said, when they were in my office, we settled. And they started off at both sides of the Oval Office, so far away. I didn't know you could be so far away. And as we were together for an hour, they kept getting closer, closer. And by the time we finished, we all hugged each other. And one said, I've been in this position for 22 years, and all I've done is kill their people. The other was there for 7 years, and all he did was kill their people. And we got it settled. And we did others, as you know. The Congo, we settled the Congo with Rwanda. That was going on, and that was a machete war. That was a gruesome war. Many people, close to 10 million people killed. We got that settled. My biggest disappointment, but it's, you know, look, we did 7, and most of them were not thought to be settleable. We did India and we did Pakistan. That's 2 nuclear. That was purely for trade. You want to trade with us, you're going to have to get along. And they were going at it hot and heavy. But the Russia situation, I hope we're going to have some good news for you coming up. But again, it doesn't affect the United States. And look, it doesn't so much affect you. Of course, you are a lot closer to the scene than we are. We have a whole ocean separating us. But I will say this, it's millions of people have died in that war, millions of souls. And they're not American. The soldiers, mostly soldiers, as you know. The soldiers are being killed at levels nobody's seen since the Second World War. But they're being killed, and I feel I have an obligation to get it settled for that reason. Thank you.
And just to add on that question, because we have to put extra pressure on Putin. And it's only when the president has put pressure on Putin that he's actually shown any inclination to move. So we have to ramp that pressure up. I think it's important to have this conversation in the context of what's happened in recent weeks. We saw damage and bombing to the British Council in Kyiv. These are targets that it was thought until recently were not targets that would be hit. The British Council, the European Union Embassy, the Council of Ministers, where President Zelensky's ministers' work was hit. Again, these were thought to be places that wouldn't be hit. And then the incursion into Poland last week. And if you put that together, what you can see is either an emboldenment or at least an increased recklessness on Putin's part. And that's why I said earlier that they're not the actions of someone who wants peace. So we have to ramp up. And we discussed earlier today, we have built the coalition of the willing with British leadership and French leadership, stepping up with military planning in the seas, in the sky, on the ground, and ramping up what we do with the Ukrainians themselves. And of course, that taken with an American guarantee is now an example, I think, of the challenge of Europe stepping up to the plate, which it has done in the last few months, to show through what we and the French have done that we're prepared to take the lead in this and take the necessary measures.
But that's a war that could have been a third world war, and I don't think we're going to be there now. But that was heading to a third world war, and what a shame it is. What a shame it is.
Heading towards a third world war. What the fuck is this moron talking about?
News. Having been in DC for a few weeks, it's really interesting to see how you run the country as a proud Christian leader. And it really begs the question to the Prime Minister, if you don't mind, are we still a Christian country? But also...
when you say we, are you talking here or?
Here, the
here?
UK. I'm still British. I might
I'd
live in
rather have
America, I'm
him
still
answer that
British.
question.
But also...
I can't give you that answer.
That's for the Prime Minister, but also... despite what we talked about in Scotland a few weeks ago, we still have 12,000 people a year here being arrested for social media posts, for free speech violations. Does that not remain an important area that there is still a lot of disagreement on?
I'd like to have you answer that.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of a Christian country, I was christened, so that is my church has been all my life, and we are, that is wired into our informal constitution. Of course, we celebrate many other faiths as well, and I'm really proud that we're able to do so as a country. And on free speech, that has long lived in this country, free speech. It's one of the founding values of the United Kingdom, and we protect it jealously and fiercely, and always will, and we will bear down on any limits on free speech. I draw a limit between free speech and the speech of those that want to peddle paedophilia and suicide social media to children. And therefore, I'm all for free speech. I'm also for protecting children from things that will harm them, paedophiles, those that peddle suicide, which has had a terrible consequence for individual, particularly teenagers. And so that's the balance we strike. But we have had freedom of speech in this country for a very long time, and we will always protect it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Brian, please.
Thank you. Prime Minister, it's good to see you again. You have a beautiful country. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being
Two
here.
questions. One, just recently, President Trump labeled Antifa domestic terrorists. Would you consider doing something like that in your country?
Well, we obviously will take decisions for ourselves. I don't want to comment on the decisions of the president, but we take our decisions ourselves.
And my question to you, President Trump, is there any update on the auto pen?
Yeah, it's just gotten worse from their standpoint. The people that used it, and one in particular, one person was never told by Biden to do it. Only spoke to Biden twice, and that was just talking about the weather, not talking about any order. And he was taking orders from people other than Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't giving those orders. You know, Joe Biden didn't believe in open borders. He didn't. I've known him for a long time. He was never the brightest bulb in the ceiling, as we know. You can go back 40 years ago and you'll see that. Go back and take a look at the hearings on Justice Thomas, and you'll see that very much. But he didn't believe in open borders and all of this nonsense that they're peddling now, which is why they're not in office any longer.
Oh, listen to this narrative change.
The auto pen was
So what
illegally used. He never gave the orders. He never.
let me give one quick point. What MAGA is trying to do now is basically say that Joe Biden wasn't actually a functioning president. They want to basically charge his advisors. They're literally going to go after the advisors now. So all of a sudden, Joe Biden, yeah, he was never like that. Yeah. Notice the subtleties. Interesting.
Told him what to do. And I guess the only one he signed, or one of the few he signed, was the pardon for his son. But you had the congressman who, when they got the information, they found out they were guilty, and they deleted and destroyed all information, everything. You couldn't get any of it. They found out that Nancy Pelosi actually was offered the 10,000 soldiers, and she turned them down. They found out many things that were very bad.
Look at this. This is beautiful. Changing the narrative slowly. Love it. This, folks, we are literally, we've crossed that Rubicon. Trump is now officially an authoritarian, changing narratives, assaulting the media, using the government as a weapon. Yep, we've done it.
Those people are so guilty. They gave a pardon.
The deplorables have won, folks.
Lisa or any of those people in there that really ran it. I know them all. And they're sick people. They're smart people. They're very smart. They're probably brilliant, but they're sick in ideology. And they were running the auto pen. And it was totally illegal what he did. And I hope it's going to be so adjudged. Okay?
Not adjudged, adjudicated their MAGA.
In the deal that you're working on for the Chinese to sell TikTok to an American buyer, are the Americans going to have to come up with their own algorithm, or are they going to continue to use the successful but addictive Chinese algorithm?
So what we're doing, and we're speaking to President Xi on Friday to see if we can finalize something on TikTok, because there is tremendous value, and I hate to give away value, but I like TikTok. It helped get me elected. In fact, Charlie said, "Sir,
that's why I like it."
I said, "Really? Tell me about TikTok."
Charlie.
And we, as you know, we did unbelievably well with youth, like at a level that no Republican has ever even dreamt of. And in what, look, I think we won it for a lot of reasons, but that was a reason we won the election by such a big number.
Charlie.
TikTok,
I
has
like
tremendous
it.
value. The United States has that value in its hand because we're the ones that have to approve it. I specifically get the right to approve it. The people that are
I specifically get the right to approve it. Look at this motherfucker. All of a sudden, he is literally president for life, Trump. And he probably is president for life.
Fee plus, I call it a fee plus for just making the deal. And I don't want to throw that out the window. I can say this, that you'll have a lot of very unhappy youth. And I use TikTok very legitimately, very straight, just statements every day, little statements, short statements. Sir, make it short, please.
Little statement, little pronouncements, we call them back where I live. We call them pronouncements.
No, I'd rather reap the benefits. I mean, the kind of money we're talking about is very substantial. And it'll be owned by all American investors and, the best investors and the
state capitalism, the very best investors.
Very straight.
Look at this. This is literally happening
really companies that love
before our eyes.
It's a big thing. And on a much bigger scale, and probably that's why we were able to get that. But on a much bigger scale, we're pretty close to a deal. We may do an extension with China, but it's an extension based on the same terms that we have right now, which are pretty good terms.
And thank you for Prime Minister Starmer. If you feel so strongly about officially recognizing Palestine for statehood, why are you waiting for President Trump to leave the country? Why can't you just do it right now? And isn't there
I love this.
Hamas with that?
Well, let me be really clear about Hamas. They're a terrorist organization who can have no part in any future governance in Palestine. And what happened on October the 7th was the worst attack since the
Trump's going to interrupt him.
We have extended family in Israel. I understand firsthand the psychological impact that had across Israel. So I know exactly where I stand in relation to Hamas. Hamas, of course, don't want a two-state solution. They don't want peace. They don't want a ceasefire. I'm very clear where I stand on Hamas. On the question of recognition, I made my position clear at the end of July as to the timing, which has got nothing to do with this state visit. And I've discussed it with the president, as you would expect amongst two leaders who respect each other and like each other and want to bring about a better solution in the best way that we can. Thank you so much. Can I go back then to Robert at ITV?
Robert Peston, ITV. Mr. President, you uniquely, you alone in the whole world, have the power to persuade Prime Minister Netanyahu to stop the demolition of Gaza City, to stop the starvation of Palestine, and to stop the killing.
You alone have the power, Emperor
If not
Trump.
now, when will you exercise that
It'll all
power to
happen.
tell him to stop?
Sure.
And then for both of you, on,
But you do understand about October 7th.
Of course,
You
I'm a
do
Jew,
understand.
so I believe me, I understand
One of the
about it.
worst days in the history of humanity. What happened, I have seen the tapes. Babies that are 4 months old, just chopped up to pieces. And you've seen the tapes and I've seen the tapes. You're a professional and so am I. And people forget about October 7th. I can't forget about it. So I want it to end, but I want the hostages back. I don't want the hostages used as human shields, which is what Hamas is threatening to do.
But as soon as they're back, that's the moment you will tell Netanyahu
Well,
to
it
stop.
would certainly help, but I have to have the hostages back. And I don't want them back piecemeal, as I said before. I want them back.
And on a separate issue, free speech, your Vice President Vance said that free speech is under attack in the UK. Do you agree with him? And Prime Minister, we saw the dismissal of a very well-known chat show host in America last night, Mr. Kimmel. Is free speech more under attack in Britain or America?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else. And he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, on the question of Charlie Kirk, can I just express how shocking that is, I think, to everybody who believes in free speech and in democracy. It sent shockwaves through the world.
It sent shockwaves through Britain. Oh, how much of a suck up is this Keir Starmer? Oh, this is hilarious.
Be absolutely clear about that. Whatever our political views, it is shocking and is to be condemned. On free speech, not much to add to the answer I gave earlier. This country's had free speech for a very, very long time. It is part of who we are as a country, and it is the values that we fought for. We fought for it during the Second World War alongside each other. So we need no reminding of the importance of free speech in this country. Thank you, Robert. And I go to Beth for the final question, please. Beth.
Thank you so much.
Sky.
Thank you, Beth Rigby, Sky News. Thank you, Prime Minister. If I could start with you. Prime Minister, President Trump has said he's ready to impose major sanctions on Russia if NATO countries stop purchasing Russian oil. He's got a point, hasn't he? Is that what you now believe is needed to bring Putin properly to the table? And what's your message to the President on US sanctions? And Mr. President, if I may, the King praised your personal commitment last night to finding solutions to the world's most intractable conflicts. You have invested much of your time and effort in Ukraine, but even as you seek to broker a deal, President Putin is escalating the war. He's firing drones into NATO airspace. You say he has let you down. Was it a mistake to invite him to Alaska? Do you regret it?
No.
And is it time to squeeze him, sir, and scare him and impose sanctions? And finally, if I may, the elephant in the room, Lord Mandelson, he is no longer the ambassador. Do you have some sympathy with him that he lost his job over historic links to Jeffrey Epstein? Thank you very much, sir.
I don't know him, actually. I had heard that, and I think maybe the Prime Minister would be better speaking of that. That was a choice they made, and I don't know. What is your answer to that?
Well, I mean, it's
What is your response? And make it
some information
correct.
Last week, which wasn't available when he was appointed, and I made a decision about it, and that's very clear. On the question of the pressure on Putin and on Russia, which is obviously really important. Look, I think it is a challenge to Europe. There are a number of European countries which are too reliant on energy from Russia. The UK actually obviously has almost got nothing at all, but we do need to bear down and work with our European counterparts here. There are one or two countries, I think, that do need to look again at the question of energy. There's no one silver bullet here. We do have to have a wider suite of sanctions, which we've put in place a number of times, working across Europe and with the United States. And of course, we must, and we are, making sure that Ukraine is in the strongest position now, because one of my long concerns here has been that whilst we talk about a ceasefire, and we all want a ceasefire, and we talk about what might happen after a ceasefire, we mustn't forget that Ukraine needs our support now. And we've said we stand with Ukraine from the start to finish, and that means we must continue to supply them with what they need in order to fight this war, which of course resulted from and is a result of Russian aggression. We have particularly done the sort of leadership role in the coalition of the willing, so that if there is a ceasefire and if there is a deal, and I do hope there is, that is then lasting and not then broken, because given previous history, I don't trust Putin. Thank you.
Very simply, if the price of oil comes down, Putin's going to drop out. He's going to have no choice. He's going to drop out of that war. And when I found out that the European nations were buying
Listen
oil
to this
from Russia,
optimism.
and as you know, I'm very close to India. I'm very close
Putin
to
is your daddy,
Sir
Trump.
India. Spoke to him the other day, wished him a happy birthday. We have a very good relationship. He put out a beautiful statement too. We have, but I said, you know, I sanctioned them. China is paying a very large tariff right now to the United States, but I'm willing
Oh,
to do
this
other
is so
things, but
sad.
not when the people that I'm fighting for are buying oil from Russia. If the oil price comes down, very simply, Russia will settle. And the oil price is way down. You know, we got it way down. We're drilling and we produce more oil than anybody
Drilling
else in the
and
world.
drilling
But
and
I
drilling,
was
baby.
disappointed
We're
to see
drilling.
that. And the prime minister was disappointed to see that. And it wasn't him, it was other countries. And you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't. That's not playing fair with the United States. And
Oh, fuck that, dude.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, folks. Let's see. I got one more video. I'm going to take a break because I do have a couple things to do. And then I want to watch this young lady, Black Thumb Gardner, because I like watching her. When I come back, I will watch a portion of Nightish's show. I didn't watch. I watched the beginning. Sounds like there's some interesting events involving my former, well, what would I call him? Channel mate. But anyway, let's watch this lovely young person talking about something that I love doing, and I like seeing Black people happy.
It is fall. I don't care what you guys say. I don't care. It is fall.
And who knows what kind of hit I'm going to get for this damn music she's playing. Damn it. Stop playing the music.
Welcome back. The garden is a mess.
Ooh, look at her.
It feels like fall. The temperatures have completely dipped. I'm wearing a sweater today, so you know it's cold. And I've already decorated for fall because Starbucks brought out their fall drink, so I feel like it's fall.
Oh, yuck.
We are in
I
the
would
garden
never date a woman that
lot of the
likes
summer crops
pumpkin.
started
What
to
is it?
fizzle
Pumpkin
out.
spice?
They're
Yuck.
dead. They need to be taken out. And a lot of my tomato plants that I have in these raised beds, they need to go. They're just done. They're suffering from blight, disease.
That is true.
It's finally time to clear out the garden.
Dig a hole, put them in,
and
make
probably
mulch.
make way for more fall seed starting. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Marsha. I'm the Black Thumb Gardener. I live in Ontario, Canada, USDA Zone 5B, and welcome to my backyard garden.
No, can't be doing that, Tamika.
To subscribe.
Pumpkins are for pies and barely for
Thank you so much
pies.
for supporting my channel. Now let's get started. Okay, we still have a lot of summer crops in the garden, but to be honest, I really feel like getting rid of a lot of things. We have some beans that are beyond ready to be harvested, and I'm going to harvest these and completely remove the plants. And we do have some corn here that feels like it's struggling. I only have one ear, and I'm so tempted to just rip the entire thing out, but I'm going to let it grow. I don't know, it feels like it's getting some sort of disease. This summer garden was just a total disaster. Now, I did have some cucumbers from this plant, but I think it's time to pull this out because the temperatures have gotten so cold at night. It just doesn't make sense, and this is not going to continue to grow. So these are some of the things that I plan to remove from the garden just to free up space. And then over here,
Do you hear her Canadian
this tomato
accent?
plant is gone. It's saying, I'm over, I'm done with, like, I am ready to be taken out. So this entire bed we're going to be removing today. And I think we're also going to remove that tomato plant there. And then we still have a couple left. We have that one and then one that's on the trellis. So we still have tomatoes in the garden. I'm just going to remove a lot of the things that need to go. The good thing about fall is that we do
I
have
do
the
too, Black
flowers.
Knight.
There's a lot of zinnias around the garden that are blooming right now. Look at that bee. I don't want to bother it, but look at that. That's the good thing about fall. Like all the flowers that are coming in, bringing the pollinators still, getting their last little bit of food before winter. I love it. We're going to grab our shears and our bowl and then head into the garden.
I'm thinking of immigrating, folks. I'm going to call the show Stanley of Canada. Stanley of Canada Gardening with Marsha. Yeah, she might be a little premature with that. Oh, come on now. No, it doesn't have to be diarrhea.
This is a surprise.
No, take that
did not see
fucking,
this
it's going to
cucumber
be a
sitting here.
pickle. Fucking quarter it and put it in some vinegar, and you got you some cold packed pickles there.
Out of that entire pile, we have one cucumber. Okay, now we're going to work on
Hey,
the
it's a
beans,
pickle.
and these beans have
Just
been producing all
quarter it.
season. They were
Marsha,
very
I swear, I
productive,
know how to make the
and I'm
most of
kind of
that pickle.
happy with the output.
Future
Now, I
pickle.
wish I put them in a separate bed instead of putting them with the corn. I was kind of doing a Three Sisters thing, but I just found it was very hard to harvest them. So I think next year I might put them in the green stock instead. And I think I do have some beans in the green stock that we do need to harvest as well. Now I do have, instead of these beans, I do have some drying beans. They're over here. So remember we
Oh,
had
come on
a
now. I'm
potato
strictly
experiment.
talking
So what I
about
did is I replaced it
gardening
with
and
drying beans.
canning,
So I do
ma'am.
have them here, and I don't know what's going on. I guess they are going to be bearing fruit soon. But I do have some weeds in here. That's the other thing. We need to spend some time weeding as well. So a lot of weeds in the garden. But I think by the time we get to Thanksgiving, that and our Thanksgiving in Canada is in October. So I think we should have a harvest by then. I'm hoping they're drying beans, so that's fine, and we'll probably make a soup with it or something. I think I do have some drying beans right here as well. I think so, yeah. I didn't label. I did a really bad job of labeling this year, so
Yeah,
next year
she
we will do
sounds
better.
like my style of
I
gardening.
promise.
I forget sometimes to label this sort of stuff. And by the way, I haven't gardened in a few years, but I do the same thing. I, get like 2 types of basil or something like that. And, the dog or the child would go in and I wouldn't know what's what. I just know it's basil. Well, I'm glad to be entertaining there, TMKC. I aim to make people laugh in my own little nerdy way. But fuck it. You know what? I like seeing people happy, and there's enough stuff, and I like roasting people and just But come on, there is no way you can be mad watching this young lady harvest vegetables. It's fucking gorgeous. I mean, this woman, I hope she is married. that way, that way I can stop lusting after her.
This is probably the best way to harvest a bean plant. Just pull it out, put it upside down, and just pull the beans off. Pretty cool.
Now, I wonder if this is in the morning or the evening. I hear the crickets in the background.
It's dirty, but look at the harvest.
Well, Miss Tamika, aren't you sweet?
Okay, I think I've decided to remove the corn plants. I've been
Now,
growing
here
corn
is
for
a
a lot
funny
of
thing
years,
about corn.
and
I planted corn once, but it was like an experiment, and I had no clue that corn is like they're female corn plants, or I don't even understand the biology, and I'd have to go back and remind myself. But you can't do one row of corn. You have to do like several rows because they pollinate each other in a very complicated way. Apparently, they're female parts of the plant, they're male parts of the plant, and you can't just they pollinate each other in a complicated way. So looks like she has what, 2 or 3 rows. It's not surprising that she doesn't have a whole lot of ears of corn or didn't. You got to have rows and rows of corn. It's just ridiculous. And anyway, let's play this. But there is nothing like
I've
gardening.
had some really
I
great
highly
harvests, but
recommend it, even if it's like
these plants are
tomatoes
just
in
not
buckets. It's just
looking
so
healthy at all.
satisfying.
I don't know what's going on with these 3 beds this year, but these plants are just not it. So I'm going to pull them out, and you're probably going to be like, no, you should wait. But trust me, these
No,
are
you
just
should not
not
wait.
doing
It's
well,
fall.
and I'd
They're
rather pull
dead.
them out. There's only a month left before my first frost. These plants aren't really
Oh,
doing
wow.
anything. They don't even look sturdy, so I'm just going to pull them out. That's one thing you should know about me is if something is not working in the garden, I don't wait, I don't delay, I don't give it a bunch of time. I just get rid of it and put something else in because I have a very short season and I don't have a lot of time to be sitting there waiting on plants to produce. So if something's not working, I take it out really quickly and I put
Oops.
something else in and just keep it moving. I learned some lessons for the next season because next year I'm going to start my summer garden much earlier
We might have
because
to
I
go
know
back and
because
explore
things
her
get
show.
late,
I
I don't know
subscribe, but I've
heat
never
waves. I don't
listened
know
to her
what it was,
origin
or maybe I
story.
didn't water enough, but the summer garden just didn't do well. And I'm going to go back and review the tapes and look at what I did and change a few things for next year.
Well, good for you. No, that's not true. I'm a actually pretty good guy there, Deacon Dave. I just have to do all
Since
her
it's fall, do you
gardening.
think this would be a really good
I would make
display?
myself
Maybe I won't
useful
get rid of it and
garden.
just put it at the front door and let it dry out there.
Ooh, that's
That
a
would
good
be a
idea.
pretty cool little display if I just
Yeah,
did
just
like
let it
that.
dry out.
Oh no! Got a carrot in between. Here's my bowl.
Oh no, don't say carrot in
You know what, guys?
between.
I think I am gonna do it. I think
I
I'm
could
gonna
make
cut off
jokes.
the bottom with the dirt, and I'm gonna bind these and use this as a fall display at the front. Let me know in the comments if you have already started your fall decorating like me. I know I'm early, but it just feels like fall. All right, so this bed is clean and I feel so good. You know, it's like when you clean your house and you feel so good after. So clean house, clean mind, same thing, clean garden, more room to plant more veggies. So I'm going to fill the empty spaces probably with some spinach, Asian greens, and on the end, because we have this trellis here, I'm going to put some more shelling peas or sugar snap peas. So we will do that after, but I just feel so good. So what's left in this bed, you probably didn't even know because I never talk about it, but we have some ginger that we started earlier this year. So that's going to be harvested in October, right before my first frost.
You
And
know
that's
what?
growing pretty
There
well.
are
I'm actually really
some
excited about this, and they
service
didn't really have
jobs
room or
that
space to grow.
are
Hopefully they'll get more
just
sunlight and continue to
nah,
grow.
I wouldn't be her
We have
field
this
slave. She doesn't have a
massive
field.
celery
She has a
plant. Yes, I
backyard.
still have celery throughout the garden, and it's doing well. I also have a celery plant right here that's just
And you know what? I can think of
living
worse
its best life.
mistresses.
Look at that. So we're going to do another big celery harvest near the end of the season. And then as usual, I have a parsley plant. I have some green onions. I have another celery plant here. Yes, I'm celeryed out. And I also have some carrots. And I think these are the French carrots. And these guys haven't been getting a lot of sun just because everything's been crowding them out. So I'm really hoping that they will grow bigger because these were started a long time ago. These were started, I
Ooh,
think,
she's even
before
got a little
those carrots. So,
hydroponic system in
and
there.
they've progressed
Oh,
more
she
than
spent
these
some
ones. So
money on that
hopefully
garden.
these guys will have more space. I think I need to do some thinning as well. But look at what I got this little carrot that came out with the
Ooh,
corn.
baby carrots.
Isn't it cute?
So
All
the
right,
carrot,
moving on,
the
I'm
carrot
gonna
in
go over to
between
the
has been
tomato bed,
productive.
harvest all the tomatoes that we can, even the green ones, and then take down that bed. Okay, we're gonna
Ooh,
start with the harvest
tomatoes.
first because
Those
that's the fun
tomatoes should
part,
just
and then
be
we're gonna
picked.
get
She can
really
find
into
something to
the
do with them.
plants. So let's do that first. Don't get rid of green tomatoes. They will ripen inside.
Absolutely, they will. As a matter of fact, you could probably make like some really good, like some sort of tomato sauce. Uh-oh. Is that music? Can't be doing that, ma'am. Let's see here. Uh-oh.
This, I was saving these cilantro seeds, but I don't know where all the seeds went. They must have
Cilantro, not cilantro.
So
You
a
Canadian.
bunch of cilantro next year. That's why. Oh, it looks so much better. Let's talk about what's left in this bed. So we have some basil, and I'm going to be harvesting some basil for some pesto today because my son loves pesto. So we're going to do that later on.
Uh-oh.
And
He
then
has
we
a son.
have one pepper plant. I think I'm going to get rid of this one too because it's too late in the season for anything to happen. More celery, 2 celery plants in this bed. One
I bet
here
Deacon Dave is
and one
horrified
there. We have some
that a
sage. This is
single,
variegated
possible
sage. It
single
looks
mother, because I
gorgeous.
don't know if she's a
We
single
have, I
mother or
think, some
not,
more
but
parsley,
what if she's a
some
single mother
marigolds.
and
I
she's
think this
gardening?
is, I can't remember the mix.
Really?
It'll come to me later.
Now that's kind of
This
surprising.
is
I
strawberry
adore
blonde
pesto.
marigolds. One
And
of
by
my
the way,
favorite this
ma'am,
year.
pesto does not just have to be basil. And by the way, lemon basil makes the best pesto because it gives it a citrus flavor. And there is such a thing as lemon basil, lemon balm. The amazing thing about pesto is it doesn't have to be basil. It can actually be spinach or, any sort of green vegetable. Recipes online will call for pine nuts and that sort of thing, but really you don't need any of that. Walnuts will do if you want to put nuts in it at all. My wife and I never did. It was literally just like salt, garlic. We did use lemon balm or lemon basil, and then garlic. You don't really need the nuts because a lot of people, sometimes don't like, nuts, walnuts, pine nuts, whatever. So, oh, you sound like a finicky eater there, show sponsor. So, I am actually gonna have to pause this show. I got a phone call from my father that I probably need to take. And I'll explain it. When I come back, I'm going to end the show now, but I'm going to come right back with this video. Let me talk to my father. There is a sick family member, and I have to take this call. So everyone just stay tuned. I won't be gone long.